Hello, and welcome to the Lost Archives. My name's Owen, and I'm the Dungeon Master of this ragtag group of heroes and adventurers.
Hi everybody, I'm Claire. I'm playing Mira, who's a Dragonborn Sorcerer, half red dragon, half silver dragon. Originally was a bit of a politician, and now has joined the adventuring life, probably to a greater extent than she ever expected.
Hi everyone, I'm Michael. I'm playing Lockie, a Warforged Artificer. Originally was part of a flying castle, but I've since left and resumed an adventure with my now friends.
Cool. Hey guys, I'm Jared, and I play the character of Jin. He is a level 6 Law Bard and a level 2 Hexblade Warlock. I'm currently an associate and ally of the Tempest Guild, and I am helping them in their goal of stopping the Queen of Dragons, Tiamat.
Hello, I'm Ali, and I'm playing Shana, the Yuan-Ti Sorcerer, who is traveling with the Tempest Adventuring Guild, trying to find the other half of her soul, who is hiding somewhere away, far from reach.
Hi guys, I'm Matt, playing Yervith, the sneaky Wood Elf Ranger and Rogue, who, after a tragic incident in the jungle with his previous expedition, has now joined up with this lovely ragtag group of adventurers and is looking to see what happens next.
Hello!
Hello everyone!
Hello. Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to the final episode of Tyranny of Dragons. This is the very last episode of this campaign. When we say goodbye tonight, that will be the closing chapter on the 105 episode long epic that is our Tyranny of Dragons campaign. It has been an incredible journey. The Tyranny of Dragons campaign is what started the Lost Archives. It's what launched this channel. It was the entire reason for this channel existing. And now that we've grown into all these other areas, and Tyranny of Dragons has reached its conclusion, it's time to say goodbye to this campaign. But as all of you regular listeners will know, it's not the end for this cast or for their characters. Because in this world, the world of Nostea, the homebrew world that I've created for our campaigns, the characters will live on and continue existing in this world. So part of the purpose of tonight's episode is to get a bit of an understanding about the future of these characters, where they might go, what their goals might be now that they have finished dealing with the cult of Tiamat. Because these characters will still be existing in this world, and when the cast return with me for our next campaign, the Return of the Giants, they will be playing all new characters. But all of the characters that you've got to know and love, hopefully, during this campaign will still be there in the world, and you will still see them doing things in the background. There's still a little bit of Tyranny of Dragons left, however. We ended last session with the defeat of a certain god, but there's still a little bit more to explore there, which we will do so in great detail in the next few minutes. Before we launch into the recap and launch into the episode, there will be no episodes of any D&D or Avatar Legends next week. I am away for the whole week, and unfortunately I won't be back until the following Monday, from Monday to Monday, so there won't be any sessions at all during that time. I've got some shorts that I've edited down that'll be popping up on YouTube, so if you want to check them out, you're more than welcome to. And I've also got a behind-the-scenes episode, which was some footage we recorded way back, I think right after episode 3. Or episode 4 that I have, and I've kept this whole time waiting for like an opportunity. I'm gonna have a look through it tomorrow and edit it down. If there's stuff there that's usable, it'll be up on the YouTubes as well as a little behind the scenes for our journey getting to this point. The other big thing that's going to be coming is the wiki is going to be updated with the full plot. Now that we have reached the end of the campaign, the wiki is going to get a full update, and everything will be there linked and with all summaries in place. Character summaries as well. You will also have access to all of the homebrew rules that I've been using. Sorry, most of the homebrew rules that I've been using. There's a couple, like my carousing table, I'm still keeping to myself for the moment because I can't have the players see it. But all of the homebrew rules are also up on the wiki as well. You'll see a link to that in the description below if you're watching this on YouTube, or if you're listening to this on a podcast, the link is there. Otherwise, if you hanging out with us on Twitch, the link will pop up in a minute thanks to Nightbot, who's always got my back. Actually, I can probably ask Nightbot to do this if I do !wiki. I reckon. Yeah, there we go. Thank you, Nightbot. Nightbot's the unsung hero of this of this channel. Nightbot's always got our backs. But yeah,
Praise
so
our AI overlords.
yeah, praise the AI overlords indeed.
Yeah.
So we're going to do the recap, jump right back into the campaign, and then once we have finished role-playing out the end of the story, we're going to have a bit of a chance to look at what I call alternate futures, which is where we discuss some of the big questions that some of you have had, and some of the players as well have had. What if I had chosen this pathway instead? And there's a number of those questions I'm very, very happy to answer as part of this. It's not going to ruin or change or alter future storylines. There's a couple of questions that I can't, because those questions aren't resolved yet. But for a number of the possible futures, we can actually talk through what might have happened if certain events had played out just a little bit differently. And also break down and go through some of the big talking points of the campaign, things where we really deviated from Tyranny of Dragons. Spoiler alert, most of it. So there's going to be lots of that as well. But for the moment, I think I've done enough talking about what we're going to actually be doing tonight. Let me do a recap, and we will jump right back in exactly where we left off last session. The journey of the Tempest Adventuring Guild, a group of mercenaries, explorers, and adventurers, has led them across the lands of Nostea. For over 3 months, they have worked to disrupt the actions of a dangerous cult, seeking to release an ancient betrayer god, Tiamat, from her prison in the Nine Hells. After arriving in the broken city of Palin, the group faced off against dragons loyal to the cult. But just when things looked darkest, a group of other dragons led by Elia and accompanied by many of the friends and allies of the guild swooped in to engage the cult, giving the group a chance to head down to the Well of Dragons and attempt to disrupt the ritual. Arriving below, the group found a number of the portals had already been opened. Severin, leader of the cult, attempted to take the group out of action quickly with some strange magical sleep effect, but this was quickly overcome by the party and battle commenced. As the small portals began to open, allowing the 5 chromatic heads of Tiamat to begin to enter this realm, the group went on the offensive. One by one, the portals were closed, slowly weakening the central barrier and disrupting the summoning of Tiamat. Faced with imminent defeat, Severin combined the remaining dragon masks and took on a draconic form. But this proved a fatal error, as Yervith, who still possessed 2 arrows of dragon slaying, fired them into Severin's chest, dealing a ridiculous amount of damage. With Severin somewhat distracted by this, Lockie used the opportunity to attempt to hijack the ritual to bring the giants back instead of Tiamat. Activating his core using lightning damage that he dealt to himself, Lockie succeeded in creating a portal out of his own components, stripping him of his giant forged powers in the process. As the giant portal that Lockie constructed began to power up, siphoning energy from the ritual, the rend in space leading to the Nine Hells was just starting to close. However, Tiamat, god of tyranny, goddess of tyranny, I should say, leader and queen of the chromatic dragons, had other ideas. Using her powers to hold the portal open, she projected a version of herself, an aspect of her power that took her form and took her place as the main portal closed, trapping her true body in the Nine Hells. This aspect of Tiamat proved a dangerous foe, but not an insurmountable one. With Lockie's giant portal allowing access to the astral space where the giants had been trapped for a very long time, King Bjorn, leader of the giants, sacrificed his own life force to keep Tiamat's power sealed, allowing the party to engage and eventually defeat this seemingly impossible foe. We left off last session as the aspect of Tiamat, its powers now depleted through the combination of Bjorn's own life essence and magic, and the party's unerring and unwavering conviction to finish this fight. The party stand before the now empty chamber. The aspect's power broken, its spirit dissolving into nothingness before being pulled into the amulet of elements that Mira wears around her neck, now containing a fragment of Tiamat's true power.
Ooh, that's juicy.
Little bit of a spoiler for the players. They hadn't realized that this wasn't actually Tiamat that they had fought. It was an aspect of Tiamat,
No.
not the true god herself. No. When the portal had been disrupted, that was it. She could no longer force her way through. But what she could do was push a fragment of her power, just enough to squeeze through the gap, and force it into this realm to try and then reopen the portal. Lockie, I am happy to reveal, because we're doing this as a bit of a behind the scenes as well as an actual session, your opening of the giant portal, combined with the significant damage that Severin took, breaking his concentration on maintaining this, had already doomed Tiamat. At that point, when the giant portal had been open and Yervith, you had dealt that damage to Severin, and he'd failed his 2 concentration checks in a row because he couldn't physically pass them with the amount of damage you dealt him. That at that point, there was no way that Tiamat could enter Nostea.
Yes.
Damn.
So, as we jump back in,
Still a bitch.
all of you. What was that? Sorry, Claire?
She was still a bitch about it.
Yes, she was. Yeah, she. Well, she at that point, I shouldn't say there was no way for her to enter with that through that portal. What her plan at that point was to get an aspect of her power through, kill you, and then try and retake the giant portal and force it to open into the Nine Hells instead. That was the only pathway left available to her at that point. We jump back in. Mira, the amulet around your neck feels warm and heavy. You can feel the weight of it, and that connection that you'd felt to Tiamat before, the connection that you severed and broke. You can feel almost like a thread of that connection drawing you to the amulet, because the amulet is a magic item that you are attuned to.
Yeah.
And now that it contains an element of Tiamat's power, you can feel that power there. But there's a very important and distinct difference. The will, the mind of Tiamat that is bound to this power is not bound to your amulet anymore. And this power that you can feel inside the amulet is separated from her will, is separated from her desires, from her goals, from her personality. And you can feel it, swirling like a vortex in the center of these 5 gemstones. The rest of you sort of, I'd say at this stage, probably stands in a little bit of shock. Having watched this god, as far as your characters are aware, break apart and dissolve into nothingness, motes of light falling off her as she dissolves, plunging the cavern into a dim, dark light, the torches around the upper sections providing only a feeble light by which to see. And you can see, in the center of the room, underneath the giant flickering portal, probably providing the most light to the room is the spinning portal of Lockie's components. This blue light shining through it. You can see, underneath the portal, hunched over, this massive giant form. Long white beard, braided beautifully, wearing this very elegant series of robes that are being tied around to form strips of tied cloth, creating the appearance of almost like this cloth-like armor across his chest, these interlocking woven sections of this very strange greyish-white cloth. And as the figure groans and rolls over a little bit, you can see his eyes peering out from underneath these very dark, bushy eyebrows, this brilliant, lightning blue. But the glow to them that was crackling with energy before is fading fast. You can see the light dimming. I pass over to all of you.
I don't have anything.
I'm definitely going to head over to him.
Oh,
Yeah, I'll go over too, because it's pretty common knowledge that he saved our lives, right?
Yeah.
So I'll give him... I'm going to use my Unshoot Harp to do a 5th level Cure Wounds.
Brilliant. Could you roll me the health points, please? The HP.
Which was
18, which is actually pretty shit.
You watch as... Yeah, what was that? Because
Bunch of ones.
Oh, yeah, wow. 2, 4, 5. Yeah, 5d8. 5d8 and you only got 18. That is
I might be able to do something with this. Where is it gone?
And that's +5.
Yeah.
Yeah, if This might be a little bit too one, but would it be possible for Shana have been standing next to Jin while he was doing this?
Yeah, I'd say that as you guys sort of like run up together, Healing Wound is a touch spell. So as Jin runs up with the harp, he has to place a hand upon this giant, King Myorn. Shana, it's very conceivable that you've sort of like slithered up, keeping pace with Jin to get to, gotta keep
I'm going to
gotta keep
use
accurate.
2 sorcery points so that Jin can re-roll 2 of those ones.
Ooh, which feature are you using? Is this favored by the gods?
Empowered healing.
Ooh.
Oh, I rolled. They turned from 1s to 5s.
1s to 5, so that takes from 16, 26.
26. It's a bit
Much better.
Jin, as you play this soft melodic tune across the harp.
We're not doing soft.
Oh, okay.
My new personality trait is filled with mirth and joy. It's going to be a jaunty tune.
Okay. Just so that you know, when it's a personality trait, it's not like to the exclusion of all other emotions. It's just your default now. Like whenever you're not feeling intense emotions of any other type, your default is to go to mirth and joy. Like it's kind of like your base state of being now is mirthful and joyous.
I think what I'm sort of, we've beaten the god though, so
there's probably a bit of relief.
I feel like I would be like, we should be celebrating around, like trying to get everyone sort of into more of a happy mood instead of the somber mood. So I think
even though there's like
could work.
Dying giant for us.
Even though there's a dying giant in front of you. Matt, I've just noticed your microphone's doing that little hinty echo.
It is doing the echo again.
Just a heads up.
Oh, no. Okay.
There's 2 of you.
I mean, it's kind of like how I imagine Lockie sounds when he's like a bit low on power. Yeah.
Gotcha.
I probably should delete Tiamat from the map. As you guys all rush up, Shana, as you watch as Jin plays this jaunty tune, you sort of focus, seeing the magic is kind of failing a bit, concentrate and then summon this energy, and you watch as the spell, as it leaves Jin's hands, the harp coalescing these notes into these swirling patterns of golden light in the air. You concentrate and push some of your sorceress power into it, expanding the range, expanding the size of these magical notes. And as they move into King Myorn, there's a moment where you see the light sort of come back into his eyes, and there's a moment of hope. And then all of a sudden it begins to fade even quicker. The giant, still sort of lying on the ground, raises a hand.
Please, young ones, it is too late. I have given too much of my hue to this. I will be here no longer. Lockie, come.
He says all of this in giant, by the way, which only Lockie speaks, I've just realised.
What's that sound like to us?
Yeah, what does that sound like? Yeah.
Your scorpion tiam gor mornzigon.
Cool.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like.
Oh, perfect. I think he'll be up in a second, guys. Just give him a little bit of time to relax. And it sounds fine to me. I have no idea what he said, so I'm just going to take it. It's good.
Lockie,
Yes.
my daughter, Sinmare, she will have need of you in the coming months and years. Please, you must protect her.
I will do whatever is in my power.
Good. Please tell her her father loves her.
I'm recording his voice.
Oh, nice. As you sort of click across that little clockwork mechanism, the sound recorded inside this device, King Myorn sits up one more time and reaches over towards this massive mace that had come through the portal but had been knocked out of his hands during the fight with Tiamat.
Please, Lockie, fetch me my weapon. A warrior dies with his arms crossed. Please.
Oh,
So you're still big, aren't you?
I am. Yeah.
Lockie's still huge at this point. Lockie, as you reach over and lift up the giant mace, even in your massive giant form, this thing weighs a ton. And as you touch it, this little jolt of static electricity crackles along your body. Doesn't do any damage, but you can feel the lightning emanating from this thing. And as you hand it to him, he takes it in this very weak grasp, holds the mace against his chest.
I go to the halls of my ancestors. It is good that I die here in my home.
Oh, yeah, go.
I'm going to ask Lockie real quick. Is he... What's going on, Lockie? We can't...
He's dying, Jin. Give us a second.
Oh. Okay, yeah, no problem. Just give me a diamond of 1,000 gold and I can resurrect him.
That's not going to work, I'm sorry.
Not for good.
It might, actually.
He'll turn back to his dying king.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
It is good that I breathe the air of my homeland once more.
With that, he lets out this very slow sigh. And you watch as the light fully dies within his eyes.
As he's fading, Lockie will say, "Your death brings honor to your ancestors and your forebears,
Do you say that?
and your sacrifice will be remembered."
Oh, that's a good question. Yervith, do you say that in Giant?
Yes, I will translate for these guys as well, but yeah, I
Yeah.
do say that in giant.
A very small smile touches the corners of his mouth, just lifting the edges of his beard ever so slightly as he hears you say that, Lockie. And then as the light fully fades, you watch as the body slumps and then begins turning into this black ash, this grey sweeping across it as the body begins dissolving. The mace clatters to the floor, leaving only this small mote of glowing white light hovering in place, crackling with the occasional spark of lightning. Lockie, your databanks, this connection through the portal to the giant kind is unlocking aspects of your memory that have been sealed and degraded for years, for centuries. You know that when a storm giant gets very old, very, very old, upon their death they leave behind an imprint of their life force. Normally it is a large, glowing sphere, and it is often the honor of spell shapers and spell singers to fashion this into a likeness of the king or queen or storm giant of great power, to be remembered by their ancestors, to be affixed into their mead hall or their longhouse. But this is tiny. All that remains of his life essence, this tiny mote of light. You know you do not have the skill to shape it, but you do know you have the skill to contain it. Any metal can be used to help hold it in place and transport it. It just has to be contained within a box or a sphere of metal.
Okay. The trinket that I started using to record his words, I will I'll sort of start extending it and bringing it out, and it starts opening and adding components as needed, and I will then sort of house it inside that so that the casing holds his life essence and his dying words.
As you seal it shut, the light disappears beneath the copper and verdigris of this device that you've created. And all there is now is the light shimmering above you from the massive giant portal. No longer spinning rapidly, no longer crackling with energy, now just gently moving, almost like the surface of a pool of water contained within this ring of metal. And the ring is spinning slower and slower.
It's going to stop and turn off, isn't it?
You don't know.
Alright. He's going to turn to Mira. I need to bring this back to his people, back to my people. I'm going to need to go through there. And there's a chance that you won't see me for a while.
Lockie, no, we can bring them through. Isn't it open? It's fine. It's
It's open for now. I'm not sure how long. If I can bring them back through, I'll bring them back through immediately. If not, I wanted to take this opportunity first, and he'll take in the rest of the crew as well. I was dead and lost for a very long time, and I was alone. I found one friend, and she led me to others. I've lived for a very long time, but nothing that I've lived has equaled these past few months with you. I will come back as soon as I'm able. I have plans, many, many plans for the Tempest Guild. But I need to do this first. And if I don't get the chance to see you, I just want you to know how much it has meant to me.
It's okay, Mira. I will make sure that we send him a sending spell every now and again to check up on him.
We have resources. We have resources, Lockie. We have a network. We have.
Lockie, I can touch base with you, and if you do need our help or anything like that, we can. Yeah, because just out of game, I read that sending can actually go to other planes of existence.
Yeah.
So,
Yes.
so yeah, you do what you need to do, but just know that we are here to support you.
We will find you, Lockie.
We'll find a way to get you back.
Yes. Oh, I'll be coming back.
You better.
As you guys are talking, the portal slows to an almost crawl. And then with this sudden, almost like the sound of a bell, dong, echoing through the cavern, it locks in place. And you watch as the light in the center grows brighter.
Oh.
I didn't calculate that.
Lockie, you receive a message from someone using the spell Sending.
Nice.
Magic.
The voice of Sinmare echoes inside your mind. Lockie, we've got a lock. We are in position. We're going to start bringing the castles through now. Not just through this portal, through all the remaining giant portals. We've found another 4 that are active. We're going to be coming through.
That is fantastic news, Sinmare.
Yes.
Kind of undermined the emotional moment.
It's so true. It was such an emotional send-off.
I didn't want to interrupt.
Oh man, that's funny.
What's happening now?
Well, the end of the message is I'm assuming that everything is okay. How is my father there? And that's the end of the sending.
Okay.
Oh. Big sad.
He'll say to the air, because you can't hear anymore. He is with me. And he is safe.
Yeah.
Were you saying something, Shana?
Yeah.
I was gonna say sending. You can do a reply. I think
Pretty sure you can.
Oh, I can? Oh, shit.
Pretty sure you
Oh.
can. Let me double check, but I'm pretty sure you can.
25 words.
Alright. Okay, well, he'll send back. We were successful. Tiamat has been shot off. Or killed. I'm sure. I have your father's essence with me, and I will guard it with my life.
There's no reply. Jin, you then receive a sending from Gloria.
Ugh.
Are you lot alive down there? I'm assuming since Tiamat hasn't burst forth from the earth that you've survived. Why are all the giant portals activating?
I send it back to her. Yes, all alive and well. I can see you're still alive. And I put a bit of snark on that. Giant portals, we shall tell you in person. I don't think I can explain it in a sending message. That's too long, not enough words.
Fair enough. Alrighty. The portal remains still, no longer spinning the light, this pure, brilliant white light. If you guys stay where you are and stand there, you watch as the light stays bright for about 10-15 minutes before fading into nothingness, the portal slowly turning to dust and collapsing back into the components that rain down from the ceiling in this hail of fragments of metal. What would you guys like to do?
Well, as far as we're aware, this... Oh, sorry. You go.
I was just going to say, like, knowing that sort of Lyra was fighting up top with a lot of the rest of our friends, I think Shana would probably start heading back up, but sort of, look over and see if anyone's going to follow along with her.
Well, that's the thing. That's what I was actually about to say, because Gloria messaged me. I'm like, there was still a battle raging above us, so, like, we should go at least check it out and support if we need.
Yervith could probably climb on Eleanor and be like, I'm ready. Let's go check up on our friends. I don't know if Eleanor would be big enough to carry multiple people though.
No, probably just although probably just big enough for one.
Yeah.
Or maybe two if the second person's a bit smaller.
Maybe two if you're like just on the ground, right, running. Maybe one up in the air.
I will add though.
Could she carry someone?
Between her paws.
Yeah.
Yeah, she probably could. I will add though.
Don't worry, I can do this. And I just give me a sec, and like I just sort of strip off into. I use my clothes to change as well at the same time. I change into a gnome.
Nice. Oh no. I will add Mira. Ever since the amulet has absorbed the fragment of Tiamat's essence, the aspect of Tiamat you defeated, it's almost like this kind of version of detect magic is active, but not so much all magic, sources of draconic power. You think that you kind of are seeing the world a little bit how Tiamat can see it. It's not true sight. It's kind of like essence sight, where you can see things that are infused with draconic power. Yervith and Eleanor are brimming with this energy. It's this stream that is connecting them, this thread of golden light, and the essence that is pooling along and reverberating back and forth through this connection is immense. And as you look at it, you can kind of feel the frequency of it. And that frequency resonates with the frequency of the magic inside the amulet. You instinctually know that you could channel some of that essence in and maybe empower that draconic connection a little bit more.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Damn.
I think Eleanor will be able to carry us all, Yervith. Can I just place a hand gently on her scales and try and...
Yeah, Eleanor, I think you and Eleanor have only had very positive interactions. Eleanor probably quite likes you.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
As she kind of nuzzles into you can see that chromatic effect on her scales is slowly fading as she moves back into just this pure green, Yervith's eyes changing to match that color. And as she sort of nuzzles into you and you place the hand on her, you can feel that energy reverberating through her. But you can also feel Yervith's energy as well through her. They are one and the same.
I reach out a hand to Yervith as well, my silver one. And I just I think that Yervith could probably see that sort of power reflected in Mira's eyes now, and she's like, this is how it's meant to be. And she'll hold on to that connection and channel a couple sorcery points, I think. I could try.
Yeah, you only need to spend 3, because any sorcery points spent while wearing the Amulet of Elements after absorbing Tiamat's essence, for every 1 sorcery point you spend, the amulet contributes 2.
Oh wow.
Oh.
It contains a sliver of divinity. It contains a fragment of Tiamat's essence, a shard or a splinter of her true power. As you channel those sorcery points, you watch as Eleanor suddenly starts to grow in size, taking on this much more draconic form. It starts off small, sort of see her scales shifting, and as she shrugs her shoulders and flaps her wings a little bit before the growth becomes almost explosive. You have to stand back quite quickly as Eleanor takes on this massive draconic form. Eleanor is not the only one who is affected by this link. Yervith, I'd like you to roll me a Constitution saving throw, please.
Oh yeah.
Yes, please.
Oh, yeah?
Yes, please. 11. That is a fail. You watch as sections of Yervith's skin begin to slowly become replaced by scales, his pupils becoming much more draconic.
Cool.
And with a sudden crack, Yervith's knees reverse directions, his feet giving way into claw-like hinges as he now is standing on digitigrade legs, draconic legs. If it had been below a 10, Yervith would have spent the next hour as a dragonborn, essentially.
Wow. Does this hurt at all?
No, there's no pain. It should. Like, you can feel the sensation of it, and it is bizarre, but you're expecting it to be excruciating, but it's not. And that's probably a bit confusing.
I think everyone else would be like,
actually, I just realized it wouldn't be that his knees reverse directions. It's just that his thigh shortens and his foot lengthens so that he sort of is lifted up off the.
It doesn't look as violent then.
It's not as violent as his knees reverse directions.
I was like, oh my god.
Dragonborn
that's a bit
so on tiptoes.
horrifying.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
I didn't think that happened.
It's fine. It feels okay, I guess.
The remains of his
Wasn't
boots
expecting that though, either.
just sit shredded on the floor. These scraps of leather that have just been shredded by this.
Oh no. Oh, magic.
Those shoes and I have gone places. That's rather unfortunate.
You didn't have magic boots, did you, Yervith?
No, but like I've worn them for like.
Yeah.
Didn't you have the Elvenkind
career.
boot shoes?
Do you have Elvenkind boots?
I do have Elvenkind.
Okay, no. They don't shred. They don't shred. They begin transforming with you because magic items transform to fit you. They begin transforming with you, and now you have these like anklets of the of Elvenkind.
Nice, that's cool.
Yeah. These like pauldrons of Elvenkind as the boots sort of shift and change with you.
They're like green tassels because boots of Elvenkind are quite funny. They're like just these green sort of.
Yeah, it's kind of like you've got like this green fabric tied around your feet, like little scarves almost wrapped around your feet.
Toe shoes, you know those awful toe shoe things.
Oh no, they're not that. No, they're not barefoot shoes. That is horrific. Apparently, they're supposed to be better for you than normal shoes, but I can't get over the horrifying nature of the little like toes poking out.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
should we go up?
Unexpected.
No, yes. You okay? You feeling all right?
My fingers are they? Do I have clawed fingers as well? No.
Yeah.
Oh no. Can I shoot an arrow still?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Because the inside section of the arrow, the inside section of your claw is still like a fingertip. It's not like you can't.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Cool, like
If anything, you can kind of use the claw to help like pivot and release at the last possible second with the bow. You can kind of keep the bowstring under this like really very fine hair trigger, essentially.
Yeah, I probably practiced it a little bit. Yeah, that's what I was worried about. I was worried I'd have anything like claw. No,
as soon as Jeff goes to draw his bow, his claw just snaps the string. No, it's a magic item, so
it is a magic item.
It's a magic item.
No, I just sort of tested it out a little bit.
This may not be permanent. Okay.
No, I just shrug and like kind of like adjust, like feel it a little bit and go, yes, feels good. Yeah, I think we should get going then, right? See our friends.
Yes, it could still be a combat. So
does it sound like there's still a fight going on above us?
Yeah.
No. You couldn't hear much before because of the commotion that was going on inside the cavern. The portals were constantly giving off this low, almost like a whoosh of air, this rush of air coming from around the portals. And occasionally at the edge of your hearing, you could hear the sound of screams and moans from inside the portal as the sounds of Avernus occasionally escaped through the cracks and tears in reality. But now that you mention that, there's a silence. Perfect timing with the music, by the way. This very empty silence, this hollow silence coming from above. A portentous silence. Great name for an episode.
Yeah.
We should get up there, yes.
Yes.
Just right. Climb on board.
Yeah, as Eleanor is now the size of a young dragon.
Damn.
Nice.
Lockie, I
Yes.
should add as well, as the giant portal locks into place, you begin shrinking back down into your normal giant forged size, your smaller giant forged size, I should say.
Okay. Oh.
No, I will add though, Lockie, you can feel within you it's no longer a thing that needs to be focused on or channeled. At will, you can now change your size between the two forms.
Oh, shit.
That's cool.
That's very cool.
That's awesome.
Well, because that's how you were designed to be. You
Yeah.
were designed to be able to switch between the two fairly easily.
Lucky Prime.
Lucky Prime. Lucky Alpha. Alpha Lockie. As you guys climb onto the back of Eleanor and she flaps her huge wings and takes off into the sky, the black mist, the smoke that had covered the area of the roof before, is still there. But as Eleanor sweeps through it and her wings carve into this black smoke, disrupting it with this gust of air, the smoke doesn't reform. Instead, these trails of dark smoke are left behind as Eleanor takes flight, the sunlight stunning you for a moment as you burst into the open air above the city of Palin. To see a huge crowd of people at the edge of the ruined section of the city, combing through, doing their best to try and get through the area of destruction. You can also see a large contingency of what look to be wizards or sorcerers, all wearing very similar clothing that those of you who are from Oxenfurt would recognize as the Academia of the Unseen University. The long, dark blue robes with the black swirling Celtic pattern on the front that marks the higher faculty members of the Unseen University, all of whom seem to be casting this massive group spell.
Oh, wow.
In your minds, probably at first, those of you who are familiar with the spell Mending, you think, oh, this is like some super crazy version of Mending. But that doesn't do it justice. This spell is not just fixing things, it's reversing localized time as they perform this spell. Probably something Lockie is very interested in.
Oh, yes.
As you watch as this spell seems to almost rewrite the immediate past of these objects. You watch as they all of them have these large buckets of red paint, and they're dipping their fingers in and marking these symbols on, and every object that has the symbol marked, the symbol glows briefly, sinks in, and then the item almost like reverses back to how it was before the event that destroyed it. As the personal history, the history of these items is rewritten by these wizards working. But that is not the full thing that grabs your attention. In the center of Palin, town square, is a massive, old, derelict, giant portal. Derelict no longer. You can see the apparatus has come to life. A number of buildings that have been kind of constructed around the base have actually been damaged by this thing switching on. The lower section has formed this massive spinning ring that forms almost this sphere in the very center. And these sections around it, also these spinning rings, forming the arms that spin in this very rapid movement. Air rushing around it. And you watch as with this pulse of light, almost pulling out from a single tiny point in the center of the portal, is this massive giant's castle that appears above the city, the shadow instantly cast upon the city below. Lockie, you recognize this castle. You spent a lot of time here. This is the Storm's Redoubt, the stronghold of the Storm Giants.
Oh, that's cool.
Oh, yes.
But it has undergone some changes since you last saw it. No longer are the crenellations and battlements open air and the doorways and windows open for wind and air to pass through. The entire building has been sealed with this strange glowing magic that forms almost like these domes or walls of force around it, keeping it airtight. And as the castle into existence, you watch as these shimmering walls of force slowly begin to dissipate, air sucking into this location as the walls of force are replaced by this air. And you watch as emerging, standing up on the battlements, blinking in confusion, their arms raised up, their faces turned towards the sky. You see giants. A few at first, then 10, then 20, and hundreds begin emerging onto the battlements of this massive castle. The Storm's Redoubt is easily as large as Palin. The city is dwarfed by it, is hidden in its shadow completely as this giant castle just hovers above. And you can see standing right at the window of her tower, looking out across the area, is a familiar white-haired figure. Sinmare, your creator. Below you can see a number of dragons wheeling and landing. Elia, the silver ambassador to the Veloxer Empire, the Empire of the Dragons, is currently looking up, her massive draconic maw open in surprise as she stares up at the castle high above. In fact, a number of people seem to be having a similar reaction. As Eleanor sweeps low and lands next to a number of the chromatic and metallic dragons that had come to your aid, you watch as Elia turns towards you, this look of confusion crossing her draconic face, as then she turns back into that dragonborn form that you know her. She points up, mouth agape. There's, what?
I can explain.
Timing, eh?
It's good to see you too,
It's fantastic you survived. Eleanor, what the hell? Yervith, what the hell? What has happened? What is going on? You were successful, I assume, when the sky suddenly opened back up and the sunlight was visible again. I assumed that you had been successful in your mission, but this was not expected.
Well, we realized that we may need some more help. So we kind of found the giants and brought them back.
Ellie just kind of nods. Yep, okay. And then rubs her temples.
Without their aid, it is entirely possible that our fight would have gone in a
I thought the giants were dead.
Locked away.
Yeah.
Do we know much about that? Who locked them away?
I believe it was Tim. No.
That was my understanding.
Yes, it was. Yes, it was.
Isn't that up contention? Wasn't there an event where they disappeared and no one really knows what happened?
Yeah. Well, it's
Tiamat and some of the other gods.
Yeah, Tiamat and some of the other betrayer gods.
They didn't want to share.
Tore them from this realm and locked them into another because they didn't want to share the power. I think that is possibly an oversimplification, but it is the essence of it.
That was one of the theories.
Elia nods, sort of mouth still partly agape. Shana, you watch as a familiar form nimbly runs through the rubble, vaulting over sections of ruined buildings as she runs towards you. Lyra, red hair stream behind her in the breeze, leaving behind these trails of silver spores that kind of sort of fly off her hair and leave this trail of silver sparkling dust in the air behind her as she nimbly runs up, vaults up Eleanor's leg and wraps you up in a massive hug.
Yeah. She returns the hug and probably almost like is a little bit weirded out because this is the first time that she's actually seen Lyra
like a fizzle.
not in a mirror. So it's
actually really weird because her entire face from your perspective is reversed. Everything's on the wrong side. So from your perspective, it's now like you're looking at a reflection of her, a swapped, inverted version of her. As we described before, Lyra does appear to have gone through a few changes. Her brilliant... Her eyes before, which one was blue, one was green, are now both this very, almost like a hazel green color. And you can see that sections of her clothing have almost been replaced by this living, growing mycelium. This central red chest plate made up of these dark black and red strands forming this interwoven mycelium network. And as she sort of wraps you up in this big hug, you can feel that the chest plate compresses slightly, but there's a strength there as well. Whatever this is, it is strong and it is protecting her. And as you pull away, a few little strands of mycelium break off you, having already grown to try and like hold you in place for the hug.
This is new. It's very cool. But it's like no words. Like it's just mostly just unbelieving gestures.
Lyra is exactly the same. You can see there's like a tear in her eye, and she's like, "I'm here. You're here. We're here."
And we're not the same person. This is very, very strange. It's I like it. Nice to actually meet you face to face for the first time.
She laughs and kind of like punches you on the shoulder a little bit. I've known you my whole life. It's nice to meet you too, though.
No, it's weird. It's cool. It's good and cool. But
Yeah, I know what you mean.
It's
It's kind of weird. Like your face is the wrong way round. Is that a weird thing to say?
No, I was thinking the same thing. I was also wondering if it would be weird to say it, but I guess literally everything is weird. So in which case, it doesn't really matter anymore.
Well, you used to hear every thought I had, and I used to hear every thought you had. So like, I guess it's like less weird if we just keep saying stuff out loud, right? Because like that's what we're used to.
It would seem more normal. It would definitely. No, I am with you there. And I'm approve of that decision. It's like very unlike herself, like sort of this cool, calm, collected sort of persona that she's sort of woven for herself is just completely and utterly collapsed. Like it's just this floundering girl, like she's got no clue what's going on. Like they fought a god, somehow survived, died a couple of times. Like she's just
You did, yeah.
what? Yeah.
You went down a few times,
Yeah.
Excuse me, dogs. As you're sort of standing there looking, you receive who would be the next person to receive the message? Probably it would be Jin again as a member of the Harpers. Although Azure is there with you, as Azure picks his way through the rubble as well and stands before you, this big beaming smile. You can see there's a cut on his forehead that's sort of slowly healing itself as he stands there before you. This, rather than blood, this light shining out from this cut on his forehead. And these angelic wings still behind him, glowing softly as they slowly fade away.
Well, I have to say that was epic. You did it. I'm so proud of you.
Thank you, Azure. Like, it obviously seems like you also put a bit of effort in. You get a bit cut up.
No enemy can withstand my punches, as you know.
I haven't actually seen you in combat.
I would have loved to have seen that.
Oh, I have a number of new abilities that I've been honing for a very long time. I can do what I call sun punches. Would you like to see?
Sure, why not?
Azure turns and looks at a slightly destroyed section of building.
They don't need this right now, do they? No, probably not. Right, let me demonstrate.
As you watch as Azure punches out, his fist. What was that? Sorry, Mira.
Wizards just fixed it.
Wizards just fixed it. No, they're on the other side of it. They're on the other side of the crater. As Azure punches, you can't actually see his fist move. There's just these flashes of light. And the section that he punches, you watch, he holds his fist up, and then there's this blur of movement. And then the section of wall that he punched is gone. There's this poof, and you can see this ring of embers around the outside of this circular crater of where he's punched.
Pretty good, right?
Yeah. That was rather impressive.
Well, I'm not just the leader of the guild. I've got my own powers.
I'll do a minor illusion to like simulate a lot of clapping. There's like a crowd here.
Ah, he does a little bow. Wonderful. Oh, that's a nice trick. Very good.
Ah, good work.
Has anyone seen Wiltix? I saw him before. He was he unleashed a little bit. Oh, there he is. And he points over, and you see this enormous wolf still holding a very limp cultist's body in its mouth.
God.
And as it turns its eyes towards you, you can just see this tiny little red hat on its head. And as the wolf begins picking its way towards you, it's easily the size of a large carriage. As it picks its way through, 3 of you could ride this thing. As it picks its way through the rubble, padding softly, it drops the body of this cultist on the ground, sits, and starts panting as it looks down at you guys.
Oh.
It's like we've all
Well.
been out.
Wiltix, long time no see.
You hear in your minds, yeah, it was getting a bit like that. I've had a bit of a time to reflect and try some new things out. I think it's working quite nicely for me.
Yeah.
I recall you briefly. Weren't you the one that disappeared through a portal?
Yes, I was on the Sky Castle with you. I stepped through a portal that banished me to this like Northern Isles area up towards the north. I don't really know where, but then I had to pick my way across that. I found a bunch of sea turtles, lashed them together using their beard hair to form a raft. No, I don't know. I was banished to the far north for a little bit, but it was good. I met some other people like me, some other people who channel the power of the lichen, and I've kind of become one with my wolf spirit, as you can see.
Yeah, that's
Just
good.
mindfulness.
Are you permanently going to be like that?
No, but I am like this for 2 hours.
Oh.
Or
Okay.
until I stop consuming blood. Don't worry about that last bit.
What happens if you do stop consuming blood?
I'll turn back into my normal gnome form.
So you won't go and look for new blood?
No, I've got full control of this.
Oh.
Mostly. For the most part.
I was going to say insight check.
You can roll inside checks.
Yeah, no.
My passive insight's 21.
28 for Yervith, 21 for Mira.
Pretty good for Mira.
Yervith, 28.
Oh, man.
Jin, 15. Jin, like, 100% he's in control. There's nothing to worry about. Yervith, there's an edge to his voice that makes you very uncertain. You don't get the sense this is fully controlled. You get the sense that this is very temporarily controlled.
It's fine.
Oh, well, he's fine. He said he's
Same for
good.
you.
So, no problems at all, Yervith, it seems.
Oh, yeah, sure, no problem. Yes. Blood. Going to make him fine.
There's a sudden blur of movement, and Wiltix suddenly turns around very, very rapidly, his ears twitching, as this blur streaks into the city and then like stops and begins leaning on this pole. You see a tabaxi, desert coloring patterns with a few spots, blue tunic, leaning on this quarterstaff panting, and as Wiltix looks down at this cat in his wolf form, you watch as his eyes sort of fix, he closes his mouth and his ears sort of like go back a little bit, and you hear this little like very slight whine at the back of his throat. Azua catches this and like just like whacks him on the back and goes, "No, leave." Wiltix sort of turns and looks at him and then looks back at the cat and whimpers again. He's leave. Wiltix drops down on all fours. You can see Talari standing before you panting. I came as soon as I heard.
Oh. Wait, did you just get here?
I've run across the entire continent.
Whoa. Wow.
That is a feat.
This is...
Unfortunately,
Yeah.
Unfortunately, the battle's won.
Fuck. As Talari sort of collapses down and lays spread cat on the ground, his quarterstaff sort of like dropping to the ground next to him. As he looks up at the sky, should have taken a breather back when I could.
I sort of walk up to him, and in front of him, I'll just put like my water bottle or my water skin.
Yervith also up to and goes, I think we've actually met.
Talari, Fleetfoot. Holds up a paw.
Yervith, Drake Warden. Like extend my elongated, like draconic hand.
He shakes your hand, looks a little bit sort of like confused as he shakes it, and then takes the water skin and then begins like lapping the water out of it. Literally like a cat. He's just like lapping the water out of it. You can see he's like, there's like a rasping sound as his like textured cat tongue scrapes the outside of the water skin. There's like shh as he goes to drink.
I'm gonna give him a good berry.
Oh, he takes the good berry, like chews it, kind of like looks a bit weird about it and spits it out and goes, fruit. I'm cat. I'm an obligate carnivore. I cannot. I can only consume meat.
That's unfortunate. Well, I mean, I tried.
Can't place a cat. Sorry. I think
yes.
with this all happening and like Lyra and Shana back together and everyone kind of around, I think Mira will at that point like tear up because all the adrenaline's starting to roar up, and she's looking at her Tempest Guild and she's like, "We're so diverse."
Seeing your kind of emotional reaction, Elia walks over towards you, Mira, and places a hand, a very comforting arm around your shoulder and pulls you into a hug. It starts off kind of like just an arm around the shoulder, and then she kind of immediately relents and pulls you into this big hug. As she feels the amulet touch her scales, she pulls back a little bit and looks down and then looks at you. You had to accept her power to defeat her.
I did. It nearly destroyed me.
But it is not her power anymore.
She places a hand on the amulet.
You have severed a part of her magic. You have splintered her power. It is not hers anymore. It is yours as the bearer of this amulet. You didn't accept her power, Mira. You rejected it. You claimed your own.
I did. And Mira will take off the amulet.
It's no longer bound to you. As you take it off, it just easily comes off.
Cool. Yes.
No longer a cursed item. No, it's the curse is broken. The curse was the connection to Tiamat. With that connection broken, it is no. So all you had to do to break the curse and prevent the curse was to refuse Tiamat and to break the connection with her, and to willingly turn your back on her power. If you had done that prior to facing her in the chamber, the amulet would have ceased to work for you. But because you did it during that, when you were connected fully to her power, it is now your amulet.
Wow. That's awesome.
Well, actually, Mira will say to Ilya, I'm not sure if anyone should have this power.
I can feel it like a great well of energy kept within.
I need to keep it safe.
I think for the moment, Mira, the safest hands are our own. For the moment, for the time being, you should keep this. There are still members of the cult who we were not able to capture or take out, who fled. We saw a draconic form, the black dragon that attacked before, wheel down into the smoke and carry Severin away. He is still out there somewhere. I think it's best if you keep this. I'm not sure there is any safer place than by your side for the time being.
Well,
I'm not even sure that anyone else could use this while you live. I think it is bound to you.
Well, just know that this is not my power. I'm a custodian of it. It's not mine. Not down to my ego.
It is good that someone who does not seek the power should be the one to hold it. There is no one better, Mira.
we were to
At
take
this-
this back to Velox, sir, there would be arguments for its use, for its... It is best. Sorry, Yervith, you were going to say something.
I was gonna say at this point, you probably walk over and say, "Yes, I think that amulet represents a future for us. There are many Dragonborn, I feel, emerging that will need assistance in the coming years.
Yes. Yes.
I can sense them too. Yeah.
That stands as a testament to combined strength and is almost estimate future that we've created. And while it stands, so does the Drac, and so does the future we fought for.
Yes, I think you are going to be very busy in the coming months and years, Yervith. There was a release of energy when you closed the portal, when you broke Tiamat's power. Now, be aware. I heard someone say that you defeated a god today. I thought I heard someone say that. All of you, this is relevant to all of you. Please, you have much to celebrate this day. You have done an incredible thing, but I want you to know that what you defeated, what you destroyed, was not Tiamat herself, but an aspect of her power. She is...
Come back.
She could, but not anytime soon, and I don't think she would dare while you are all still around. I know that you probably frightened her this day. You were not supposed to be victorious. To have even beaten a fraction of her power is a testament to how much you have grown, how much you have learned during this time. And I am so very proud of you. All of you. You have done phenomenally well. And when presented with choices, you seem to have always made the right ones. Ones that we could not even imagine. The giants live and they are now here again? I never could I have imagined such a future. That is your power. You see pathways others do not, and you take the steps to walk along them and turn them from dreams into reality. I think Tiamat will be very careful next time she tries. I do not think it will be soon. And if Severin has an ounce of wisdom left in him, he will be done with her and her power.
That's a good point to bring up. He is still alive. He did escape.
I saw him. As I said before, I saw a large black dragon fly down to capture him and take him away.
I mean, he might not have an ounce of wisdom, but he's definitely got an ounce of lead in him.
Indeed. Only my arrows have been a bit more.
There's also that other Drake Warden we saw. Did anyone see him?
At that, you see a familiar black-haired man dressed in greens and greys saunter up with a halberd over his shoulder. The halberd is made of green dragon scales, and padding along behind him is a large green dragon, a young green dragon. You can see that this figure is holding in his hand two heads, the head of a man and the head of a drake.
Oh, I would have liked to see that battle.
And as he drops them to the floor, he looks over and goes, "Sounds like you lot were looking for this. Piece of shit. Piece of shit on the back of a dragon. Yeah.
I think that makes up for your little transgression.
I don't know what you're talking about. I saw an opportunity to further and better myself and those around me, and I took it. And I had my eyes on that green dragon the whole time, I'll have you know.
Oh, I know.
Oh, so you knew it was a green dragon even though it was in an egg?
It was in a green egg. Seemed pretty obvious to me. Look, I'll be honest. I also liked the look of the black one, but that Furbolg Nucius kept a close eye on all the eggs, and I just swiped the closest one I could when I took my leave of the guild.
As much. But it's worked out well. Look, you definitely came and helped at the, at our time of need. So thank you so much.
Yes,
Is that he's just dropped on the ground? Definitely.
Yeah, as you look at it, Yervith, you can see that it is. I'm trying to remember the name of that character. I have to pull it over
Yeah,
really quickly.
Let's have a look at my notes.
I'll find it. Don't worry.
What was it?
Yeah, the southern accent.
Yes, he did.
Yeah.
Isn't it funny that I can remember all of the voices that I've given them, but I can't.
Voices,
Yeah.
all names, yeah.
Nah, I can't remember.
That's right. I'll find it here. It'll be here somewhere. Give me a few seconds and I'll find it.
Yeah.
I'm
What
looking
does the head of a spectral drake kind of look like? when
Yeah.
It's not spectral. With his death, it is no longer spectral. It is fully formed.
Oh, wow. That's interesting.
Lockie will step up to where Emmerich is. Just sort of look him up and down. So, are you a Drake Warden as well, then?
No. I just stole a dragon.
Right.
I look at Ilya. I'm just like, who's that?
She looks over. I have spoken with Wrath on Green Death, and he is quite happy traveling with Emmerich for the time being.
Are you sure?
I've
In my
asked-
eyes,
Yeah.
I like to think that it's like now just like a buddy cop sort of movie them two down.
Oh, yes.
Like moving forward.
Someone's like, it's a bloody great dragon. He's like, that's Mr. Dragon to you. Punches them in the face.
Good cop.
Yeah. Good cop dragon.
The
Well, it's
dragon.
it's just asshole and dragon. Yes, I have spoken with Wrath and Death on Green Wings, and he is very happy with both his name and his chosen path at this point in time.
So edgy.
So
He's still young. He has time yet.
I think this is his rebellious years, but the confusing thing is that he was partially raised by Emmerich, which means that this is his rebellious phase. What is his actual, adult personality going to look like? Look what he's doing! And you can see that the young green dragon is currently, snorting some building dust, trying to, sniff it and see if there's any bodies underneath it.
We're gonna have another crisis on our hands. That's gonna happen.
you know what? I think they'll be a good influence on each other.
Elia gives you a look. Are you sure?
I mean,
He hasn't done anything too evil yet. He came to our time of need. He could have.
Oh, look, I wasn't that careful with the halberd. I may have got some people who were in the way. I don't know.
I did say you haven't done a super amount of evil things.
I just
didn't
really
say you
enjoy
did
the
nothing
fight.
evil.
And when I ran out of people to fight, I just kind of found some people who looked like they wanted to fight. You know how it is.
okay.
Wow, this guy.
Hopefully they were still cultists.
What was that,
You
Lockie?
guys were adventuring with this guy.
I said, wow, this guy is an asshole.
Look, I'm only joshing, guys. I'm pulling your leg. I didn't kill any townsfolk. Jesus, who do you take me? Sorry, by Lysander, who do you take me for?
I've never met you before.
Oh, hi, I'm Emmerich. Holds out a hand to shake your hands.
I'm Lockie, and you shake it back.
I don't think we've met either. Very good.
Lox, Yervs, nice to meet you.
Oh wow, yeah.
Nice.
Oh, that's I'm gonna have to go on that one. Yes, yeah, okay.
Well, you nerds look like you've got this. I'm out. See ya. And Emmerich walks back over to the back of the dragon. As he goes to jump on, the green dragon moves its head ever so slightly, so he misses and face plants in the dirt. You can see the dragon sitting there kind of laughing a bit. Emmerich looks up, this scowl on his face, and then he breaks into this big grin, punches the dragon on the side, and then climbs back on. The two of them take off and start flying off into the distance.
I definitely want to see that. If this was a Marvel movie, they'd have their own television series.
Yeah, they would.
Yeah, they would.
Yeah.
Would it be like Dickhead and Drake? It's Drake and Douche, Drake and Douche. Drake and Douche. No. As you're sort of standing there looking at a little bit of confusion, Leosin heads over towards you guys. You can see that your airship, dwarfed in the shadow of this massive giant's castle, has flown closer to the city, and you can see your crew on the deck of the ship waving down at you. All of them still seem to be there. The ship itself has taken a bit of damage. You can see massive blasts across the starboard bow that have burned through sections of the wood and railings, and one of the rear engines, Lockie, is barely keeping this thing afloat at this point.
Oh.
Leosin sort of walks up to you guys, cracks his neck and goes, well, that was interesting. I'm assuming you're successful because we're not dead. Well done.
No, we're all good. How fed the crew? Are you okay? I look over at the ship and see how damaged it is.
Yeah, no, it's all fine. A bit dicey there for a little bit. Grisha took a pretty nasty lightning blast, but Corvin's looking after her. Crow has magic. Didn't mention that in any of the interviews or subsequent months that we have spent with him. Cheeky little shit. But yeah, he's got magic.
Was that something he could have learned?
No.
We were teaching Barry at one point, and maybe he just mimicked that those classes. I don't know.
I genuinely hadn't considered that. Wow, maybe he did just copy magic. But look, it was impressive. It was like this healing magic. He pulled out some of his feathers, and then they turned glowing, and then he put them on Grisha, and he healed her a little bit, but she's feeling better, so I guess that kind of worked.
We never did anything like that, Jen.
No,
the little cheeky shits had magic this whole time and kept it to himself.
I look at Mira. You didn't really teach Barry any healing spells. I don't think you even have that in your repertoire.
Nothing that I can do, no.
Huh. Okay, yeah. That's interesting.
I mean, he got the job, so I guess he didn't need to share the fact that he had magic, but it would have.
Yes, but Leosin, you know that you have to put your full, employment history in resume, so it's just not acceptable.
I spoke to him about it.
Of a feature than an employment history?
I mean, I would have liked to have known that was an option if we needed him to heal, because we didn't get a ship's doctor, remember? That was one of the options that we had, and we didn't pick one.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
True.
Looking back on it.
Speaking of which, is it worth me going up and just making sure that Grisha's alright?
You're welcome to. She's stable. She's fine. The plan is to try and dock at the airship docks. We're just trying to navigate underneath the sky castle that seems to have appeared above the city.
Fair.
Yeah, that happened.
I'm guessing that was you lot as well. You said that you were planning on bringing back the giants.
Yes,
Mission success.
Definitely more Lockie's field of expertise there. So I look at Lockie.
Yes, we succeeded.
What actually?
If you could tell.
Maybe you should be an emissary, Lockie. At least make the introductions.
Yes, I think that's probably a great idea, actually. Is the Air of Decency up for a trip up there?
I'll have to speak to Arvel, but I think she could probably limp her way up to the side of the Sky Castle.
Okay. Well, maybe we should take some important people and see if we can open a dialogue. That's the word, yes?
That's right.
Yes. I might need your help with this.
Oh, you'll be fine.
Okay.
Should I follow with Eleanor, or just? I mean, I'm just not sure how the giants would take the camels then.
I don't know either. I've got no idea. Sorry, Yervith.
I think having all of us there would probably be a good idea. I assume that the giants would be quite eager to meet you.
As I to them.
As you guys are speaking. Oh no, sorry, you go, Jin. Oh no, you go.
Oh, sorry. I was just gonna send some sending out to Susurrus to see how she's doing, and yeah, we'll do Susurrus for now.
Yeah. What do you say to Susurrus?
Are you alive?
Basically, what? Susurrus, are you alive? Are you? How did things go on your part?
I'm alive. I noticed there's a giant's castle in the sky above. I'm guessing that you were successful in defeating Tiamat, and you've had some other things happen. All good here. Good luck.
I might send her a sending again. I can use it, and I'm going to give her our coordinates at least, just in case she wants to send anyone notable to her. Because you said bring up some other notable people, so
you hear back. Already on the giant castle, delegates already on board. You lot are
What?
slow for once.
I look at everyone and go, we need to get moving because apparently Sausager's already up at the castle with delegates.
Ah,
We didn't tell her about the giants, did we?
no,
We don't really tell her a lot of things. To be
Oh, we
honest.
Finally beat us to it. Ugh.
I don't know why she still puts up with this personally, but I'm glad she does.
Jiffin, we're slipping. This is unacceptable.
You see Elia pause, cock her head, and then look down at you lot. It seems that some of the wizards have flown up a number of the important members of the council above Palin to try and discuss about moving the Sky Castle off the top of the city, and also to talk to the giants and reach out the hand of friendship. Things are a bit tense up there. I have been advised that a draconic presence may not assist things. Humans are one of the races they have not had a lot of dealings with. Elves, dwarves, and dragons are the races they know very well. I think if we are heading up there, it is best not to look too elvish, dragon, or dwarfish.
I probably should just say.
You don't... Oh, yes, you look like an elf and a dragon.
Yep.
Well, maybe then, Yervith, you and I could have a bit of a talk about the future of the Drake Wardens, what we are planning to do.
Should we bring Mira with us then, if she's also a Dragonborn?
I think perhaps there might be an exception for Mira.
Okay.
As one of the ones who defeated Tiamat. Oh, there might be an exception for Yervith too, as the people who were responsible for defeating Tiamat. And as companions of Lockie, I suspect you might get a bit more of a pass than I would.
Perhaps
Yeah.
I'll stay with Elia and wait for the go
No,
ahead.
you're coming with us, Yervith. We've all been through hell, and together we're going to go into the next horizon. Come on, let's go. We're a team. We're not breaking up now.
Oh, fine then.
Come on.
You know politics is my favorite thing.
By this point, probably the magic is wearing off. You watch as Eleanor back down into the smaller Drake form. Still with wings, still the larger form. And Yervith, yeah, you shrink back down, your anklets turning back into boots again. As you take on your elvish form once more.
That was fun. It was fun. Lasted.
Oh,
I might turn into a human form really quick though. You said that elves and dwarves they might not be a fan of, so at least
you're
I'll make
currently
it a
a
little
gnome.
bit.
That should probably be fine.
Gnome's fine.
Oh yes, well, it's just that I don't want to be this small, so I'll go into human.
It's funny. I doubt that many humans in the Tempest Guilds. Is there?
Not really. Yeah,
It was Emmerich, but then he left.
Yeah, that's right.
As the air of decency, as an air of decency, I should say, gets a little bit closer to the ground, you can see the engines listing a little bit to the side. A rope ladder is thrown over, and as you climb on board, or in Yervith's case, just fly on board, you hear this from one of the side engines, and it belches out this cloud of smoke before the same energy pulsing out of it catches up again, and you hear from below a cry of, "Yes, I did it!" From Arvel's voice echoing from below.
No.
If only Lockie could see me now.
The rest of the deck of the ship is in a pretty sorry state. The burn marks and scorch marks across its surface are significant. It looks like the ship was well and truly in the midst of battle. The arcane cannon at the front that Lockie sort of helped design and Arvel and Griswold helped contribute to, you can see there are 3 massive crystals next to it, completely depleted of energy, and crystal in the very center, very faintly glowing. They burned through a lot of energy to do this, as you can see. Leosin heads up and takes to the wheel of the ship, and with a slight groan and with a few planks of wood dropping off the side, an air of decency rises back into the sky once more. As you wheel around the edge of the massive giant's castle, it becomes clear how enormous this structure is. It's an entire city in size, but this enormous, overgrown castle. As you get closer, you can see that changes have been wrought upon this, different to the other sky castles that you've been on with the giants. Plant life you don't recognize, strange reddish purplish leaves and stalks, grows across the surface. And you can see that every single available space that could let in air has been very carefully and fastidiously sealed to create an airlock. As you reach the back, Lockie, you can see these massive elemental engines, but they're not powering the castle itself. They're attuned to the element of air. As the airship comes in and docks on the edge of one of these massive gangplanks, you can see a number of stone giants begin walking down the pathway towards you. As they look down, a little bit in confusion, sort of still a bit stunned by the sunlight and the clean air and the blue sky above them, one of them looks down towards you, Lockie, and speaks in Giant.
You are Giant Forged. Designation Lockie Hobbs?
Yes, that is certainly me.
Sinmare has requested your presence, you and your companions. Please, if you would follow.
We follow.
As the giant sort of begins walking away, all of you guys, none of you who speak giant, just see Lockie sort of like speaking back in giant, and then nod, and then Lockie turns back to you guys.
Yep. They want us to go with us. Sinmare is expecting us.
I'm delighted to lead the way.
Oh, do we need to provide like a gift or something, some tribute to them?
I think I've got something that.
What?
Yeah.
Just as a failsafe, though, I still have 70 pastries.
Excellent. I'll
I
keep
almost spat my drink out. Because I'll just have a little drink of water.
You know you can't do that.
It's probably a very small snack for one giant, 70
Yeah,
pastries.
Thousands.
Appetizer.
The Twitch stream chat said,
I saw
do we have
Tella
any
suggest that.
pastries left?
Keep it hood. It's good.
Exactly.
So obviously Lockie knows that that's just like not worth, like not even probably worth it, but I'm just sitting there giving him like a reassuring thumbs up.
As you guys begin walking down the gangplank, you can see that the outside of the castle, while seemingly made of this beautiful stone, the inside is like something out of an alchemist's workshop. Pipes and tubes cover the surface of the castle. Clockwork is operating inside. The walls themselves have been converted into these clockwork mechanisms, and all throughout the castle you can hear this constant tick, 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 tick. Lockie, as you step within, there's a sudden moment of unbalance as your internal systems immediately align to the castle's. As your chronometer adjusts, synchronizes with the castle's energy, and you feel yourself recharging simply by being in this space. The energy within you restoring rapidly as you are fully charged. This entrance hallway that you step down is massive. The ceilings are easily 80, 90 feet high. But this isn't the main entrance to the castle. This is leading down a side alleyway along one of the walls, around on the inside of one of the walls. Giants of every type move throughout the castle. You pass storm and cloud giants, although you wouldn't know what they are. So I guess you pass giants with grey skin and very stone-like features as if carved from the rock themselves. Giants with dark black skin, veins of red running through them like magma and hair aflame. Giants with ice blue skin, frost coalescing on their breath as they move throughout, the sound of their hair clinking like icicles. Giants high above, sitting on clouds that float through the air. And giants, as they walk through, lightning crackling across their beards or hair, and occasionally onto the metal, grounding itself on the metal of the castle as you step along. As you reach a small antechamber, small for giants, I should say, the stone giant who's guarded you knocks very politely on the door and then opens it and gestures you inside. You see a workshop. A very familiar workshop for Lockie. Along the wall hang various prototypes that look very similar to Lockie. No spark of life in them, but elements. You see an arm that looks very similar to his, pinned to the wall, taken apart, opened up so that all the components are laid out, and notes covering the wall around each of these components. As you track your head around, you see a point where they almost look exactly like Lockie, and then continue improving. As you slowly finish the circular gaze of the room, you see future designs. Designs of Lockie that have not yet been implemented. Designs that Sinmare must have been working on during their banishment away from this realm. You see a version of Lockie, fully clad in this almost like sleek, relegated armor that folds across and forms these smooth curves, jets on the arms and legs to allow for travel.
Wow.
And in the center, the spinning core has now been replaced by this section of almost to your eyes would look like cubes folding in on one another, contained within a glass sphere. A tesseract, a true tesseract. The door at the far end opens, and through it steps a younger giant woman. You can see her eyes are red, tears still staining the sides of her cheeks. Her long white hair, once tightly bound into a beautiful long braid, has come loose a little bit. And she holds a large section of fabric she dabs at her eyes with. Her clothes are very light, again those woven strips of fabric forming almost like an armor. And as she steps into the room and sees you, Lockie, there's a moment of sadness before her eyes break and her mouth breaks into a large beaming smile. And as she runs forward to wrap you up in a hug, you find yourself growing back into your giant form as she holds you close. And you feel tears running down the back of your armor.
I hoped that I would see you again, but it was a very slim hope.
I could tell all Lockie the odds.
I left hope behind a long time ago.
I did not know that I had been successful in trying to keep you here. When the effect went off, I only had a few moments. Were you hurt? We had no time to trial this technology. What happened to you?
Wait, second, I'm just catching up. Is this during the fight, or is this when the original...
This is way back when the giants first vanished.
I mean, you were mostly successful. I did end up winding down.
Oh, of course, without any of our technology to recharge you, there was no source. Stupid.
It's okay. I was dormant for a long time, but I was awakened once again.
So when we vanished, all our technology failed as well?
Yes.
They truly did want us gone. All last traces of us, leaving nothing behind.
Well, what was left behind was structures and monuments, things that people look to.
Sorry, your friends, no, they cannot understand us. Please.
She reaches down and pulls out this device, clicks it a few times, and then presses it against your head. There's this sudden static as she absorbs the common language, because the giants would never have had the common language. Never. And as it sort of begins whirring to life, she places it down, presses a button, and now all language spoken in front of this is translated to common, regardless of what it is.
Oh, cool.
It's interesting hearing the giant. Yeah, I've only studied from my tent from my ruin delving. I've been able to out loud to myself, but I've never.
Yeah, actually, that's a good point. Yeah, you wouldn't understand the spoken giant language. You'd only see it as written, and even then, like, you know a little bit of it. Yeah.
Actually, I can speak it, but I think we spoke about it a while ago. That I wouldn't actually understand it because I've only been able to figure it out from the ruins.
Yeah, so your understanding is.
This is the first I've actually heard it spoken out loud, so it's probably like way different.
It's very lyrical, Yervith. The first thing that strikes you is it kind of moves. The voice never really cuts out, unlike the hard consonants that Common has and Elvish even has. the language flows almost like water as it travels.
Yeah, it's weird to think about because it's like imagine like learning a language and hearing it and just reading off of like a piece of paper. That's kind of how Yervith reacted. He's like he had this whole preconceived idea about what it probably sounds like from what he read, and it's like completely different. So he's probably like very like whoa.
As the giant woman turns towards you, to your eyes, she looks like she is a woman probably in her late 20s. Pale, bluish white skin, white hair, very dark blue, intense eyes, rounded human-like ears, very, very human-looking, just massive. She's about, I think from memory, she's about 80 feet tall or 60 feet tall. She's she's a storm giant. She's a big boy. And as she sort of turns towards you and nods, the device now on, it is a pleasure to meet you. I am Sinmare Mjonsdotter, or Mjonsdottinger, she would say.
Sorry, I'm suddenly quite nervous. No, this is these are my friends. This is the Tempest Guild.
Hello.
Shana gives a little shy wave.
My name is Yervith. Nice to meet you. I try to say it in like my best giant, just having heard the language.
Oh.
She gives you a little wry smile and nods. Touches her forehead and chest and bows to you. It is. I have seen glimpses of your travels with Lockie. The connection occasionally would let some data through. That is how I knew Lockie was still online and transmitting, but I had no way of knowing when the information was sent from. Time was different in the astral space. For us, it has only been maybe 2 or 3 decades on Nostea, but for you it has clearly been a lot longer. The data from your chronometer, Lockie, indicates it has been hundreds of years.
Yeah.
That is very concerning. This world is not how we left it. My mother is already meeting with some members of this Parlen city below us. This land where this city sits, this used to be where the Storm Redau was situated. But now I think we are going to have to move.
Is it a big issue to move the castle? I mean, it's floating as it is, but is it sort of bound to this general location?
It's not a technical issue, more of a connection. For hundreds or so generations, our family were buried in the crypts below the Storm's Redoubt. That area did not come through. Now the city is built on top of them. I see that the dragons also used this area for burial.
So, look, I'm not sure if this would work, but we have a massive crater in our city now. Is it possible that maybe, I don't know how big your castle is and if it would fit, but is there a potential place there for you guys?
I did a scan of the area where the Well of Dragons is located. Again, we need to talk about Tiamat, but no, it is too small. This castle is huge. It is so large. I have a scan running. 2 of my giant forged are working on a analysis pattern to see if there are any places that we could position the castle.
You say 2 giant forged?
Yes, Lockie, not like you. You are unique. I have never made another giant forged like you, and I don't think I will ever be able to do so again. The magic that led to your creation was a miracle, a once in a million chance that I have not been able to replicate, despite my many trials. No, these are not lesser, but different.
Oh, still, I mean, I have family.
Yes, you have quite a bit of family.
The astral space is not a great place for those of us who need to breathe, so we had to make do, creating creatures who could traverse the outskirts of the castle for us. Patch holes, make repairs.
What was that like? Astral space.
Cold and dark. There was a moment when we were first pulled through before our mages used their knowledge of the elemental magics and their wisdom to create a pocket of air around us, where I felt the air pulled from my lungs. I felt a cold, this burning cold across my body. I could not open my eyes, they were frozen shut. And then, with a rush, the air returned in a shell around us, but we lost a number of giants that day. Friends and family lost to the void.
Sorry to hear that.
It has been difficult. But from what I can gather, your people know nothing of our banishment, or very little.
Just rumors and myth.
Indeed.
There is going to be a lot of conflict in the coming months. There are some amongst the giants, groups of them, who believed that we should seek revenge, take back our lands for the promises that were broken. My father kept all the giant clans in check. But with my father gone, and my mother trying her best, I think there are some troubled times to come.
You mentioned promises broken. I'm sorry, but I don't think a lot of people know what the history of the promises are. Is there some sort of, if we knew what it was, could reparations be made somehow to...
The elves, the dwarves, and the dragons, when they arrived through our portals, they were fleeing, seeking asylum, and we granted them temporary stay on our world. For 100 years they were granted giant land to rebuild, to recover, to gather their strength and find a new world. But as the days grew closer to their departure, to the end of the agreement, no world was found to be suitable for them. Despite the hundreds that we explored through the portals, none was right according to their new gods. And then, a coalition of these gods murdered Anam, the All-Father, and used his dying energy to banish all of his children, all giants, to the astral space. Rather than give up their power, the gods chose to remove us instead, knowing that when their believers left, they would lose their power also.
I don't think there's coming back from that.
Perhaps they be common ground. There is the darkness in the that lurks. Dar himself.
I do not know. Thankfully, that decision and those choices are left to my mother. I can focus on my research instead, and hopefully busy myself with reactivating all of our technology that was left behind, all of our magics and works. There are a lot of things buried and forgotten in this world that can now be awoken.
It's true.
The rest of the giant forged of Nostea, they still slumber in the catacombs. They just have been awaiting our return and the return of our elemental energy. We can restore the rest of them. In fact, I would not be surprised if many of them were waking up as we speak.
When...
Oh, sorry, you're dropping out there, Ali. What were you saying?
Oh, sorry. I'm just thinking about things that we could do to sort of, you know, should conflict arise, just potential solutions almost. You mentioned that you found several worlds that you explored but were told to be unsuitable. Were they actually unsuitable, or was it just the old gods that were claiming such?
My father kept me a bit separate from this as much as he could, but as the person who had the most knowledge about the portals and the gateways, I had a glimpse into the data that came through from these. I mean, part of them were based on my designs and my improvements. These worlds were not unsuitable. They might not have been as perfect as Nostea is, but they would have been fine. With work, with efforts, they could have been transformed into homes for these people. Homes for the elves, the dwarves, and the dragons.
I think maybe
You go.
that could be another possibility. I mean, not now, but, you know, once everything's all settled and your technology's all back up to speed, maybe one of these worlds could be altered, and even maybe if it's not so much a case where everyone's forced out, you know, to give the giant land back, but maybe just having options could at least stem some of the seeds of conflict from growing.
She gives you a very sad smile. Oh, sorry, you go, Lockie.
No, I was just agreeing, getting some elbow room.
I think that this is already sounding divisive.
She gives a very
not-
sad smile.
Your people now have lived on these lands for generations, some of them for generations and generations. If it had only been a few years, maybe it would be different. But this has been your people's home now for hundreds of years. The land is not even as we remember it. It is not going to be as easy as asking people to leave. If you were asked to leave your home, could you do it? Because 1,000 years ago it belonged to another?
So some of these may just to leave. They have been around for a very long time and lived to a very age, but the humans, I don't think so.
The humans live too short lives to really have perspective like that.
But all of this knowledge was kept from you. The elves, the dwarves, the dragons clearly had no interest in sharing this and locked it away. This knowledge. I sense a magic here. Some sort of mass memory change or mass alter memory. I've sensed it since we first arrived. There was an effort to conceal this knowledge, whether by the races themselves or by the gods, maybe regretting their decisions or not wanting to be discovered for their betrayal of the giants.
That was certainly what Tiamat was suggesting.
Yes, we should talk about Tiamat. You have blocked her. Your efforts allowed us to return. You took control of her resurrection and turned it into our return. We thank you, all of us. There will be much time for the celebrations of this in the coming days, but it is still a time to mourn. My father gave his life to save this world. Sacrifice I know he would make again. But your people have been saved as well. I hope that there is recognition of this amongst your kind. We are not invaders. We are not invaders. It was not us.
You are our saviors.
When she mentions her father's death again, Lockie will bring out the his moat.
Moat of light.
Yeah.
You see her eyes kind of cloud over, and she reaches out and takes it very gently, clutches it close to her chest, a single tear rolling down her cheek and splashing onto the floor. For the small folk in the room, it's massive. This teardrop.
Make a deck save.
But
there's a little button on the side. When you have a moment, there's some words for you.
Thank you. Thank you, Lockie. My mother speaks with these politicians and council members from Palin, as well as some wizards from this place called the Unseeable University, I believe it is called. I will be expected.
Unseen.
Unseen University. Tenses are a bit different in the languages. I am expected to go and attend these. I have been away for far too long. The rest of you, by now your airship should have been repaired. I gave instructions to the artificers on the docks to repair your ship. When you arrived, I saw that it had taken some damage. It has been repaired. Please, I ask that Lockie, you stay with me. The rest of you, it might be time for you to go for the time being. But I will come and visit you with Lockie in this night hall of yours in the Oxenford. The same magic that Lockie uses to shrink himself down. I can do a similar thing on myself when times call for it.
Ah.
It is just an adaptation of the spell enlarge reduce.
Do you know, we have much to learn from each other.
I think that is true. In case you haven't heard it enough today, well done, all of you. You stopped a great evil from returning to the world. But even though she is not here, what she represents still stays and lingers. Tyranny, a lust for power. Even the giants are not immune. There are those among us who are already looking at my father's throne with jealousy and with lust. I think we are in for more difficult times.
I hope we can use this opportunity to both further our cultures and our peoples, of the peoples of air and of the giants. Perhaps we can walk this path together, rather than not.
That is what I wish. That is what I will fight for. Thank you, all of you, for taking care of my Lockie for so long. For keeping him safe. For keeping him in one piece. Thank you.
It's done the same for us.
Right. Well, I started saying this before. Everything that I said, but I do mean it. I meant it then, and I mean it now. You will see me soon. We have much work to do.
Are we going to find you now?
Oh, you go ahead.
Oh, I was just saying, know where to find you now. Look,
Yes.
far away after all.
No. I mean, just find the gigantic floating city, I guess.
Yeah, pretty hard to miss.
Oh, there are more. This is not the only one. The Storm's Redoubt is the largest of our strongholds, but there were another 6 who will have come through at the different locations all around Nostea.
Oh.
Wow.
Okay.
Cool. All right, find the biggest.
Sorry, just before we go, just a little bit of clarification. These other castles that have come through, were you all in regular communication? I mean, these other castles, they haven't come through swinging, have they?
I don't know what decisions have been made upon finding that their land is different than they remember. Without the benefit of my knowledge, I don't know how they will have reacted. I can say with some confidence that Ganglot, the Jarl of the Hill Giant clan, most likely will have come through somewhat swinging. I sent a message urgently when we came through, but I had no reply. I have sent a scout ahead to try and contact him and bring his fort to the ground as soon as possible before he tries to rain boulders down upon the land.
Oh.
That's a good idea.
Ganglot is a vicious brute. Lusts for combat and for blood, and he has been festering a hatred for all those who remained behind in Nostea.
Okay. That might be a bit of a problem.
Yeah.
Out of the fire and into the frying pan for us all, I think.
With that, in the interests of not going too over time, as I see we're approaching the 2-hour mark, as you guys head back to the airship, leaving Lockie behind, the airship has been fully repaired and upgraded.
Ooh.
You can see the engines have been modified to allow for elemental energy. No longer does it use
Someone's very
This-
happy.
output of power, the airship bends air around itself to glide effortlessly through the skies, as it uses the element of air. On top of that, you can also see that the lance at the front has been modified to use the element of fire as well. As you get back on board, the airship begins making its way, probably I'd say at this point, probably back to Oxenfurt would be fair to say for the rest of you. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
What is Arvel all of this like upgrade to the ship?
Arvel's just
It's
sitting
seeing
there,
this
just like
happen.
wide-eyed looking around the ship with this like grin on his face and like touching stuff and going, oh, that's very nice. Oh, that's very, very nice indeed. Oh, it's just like looking over this thing. And then as he sort of gets over this, this only took them like 5 minutes. They just came on and they were like waving their hands and the metal flowed like liquid and like covered things. It was amazing. I want to understand this magic. This is... if I could mold metal to my will. He's getting really excited.
Maybe maybe you can convince them to let you have an internship with them at some point.
Ah, yes. They did call me Little Lion Man a few times. I'm assuming that's a term of endearment. Yes, as I stepped off the gangplank, one of them said, "Hello, Little Lion Man." And then he said, "Tremble, Little Lion Man," as I stepped back off. Those of you don't get the reference, you need to listen to the music. Mumford and Sons. Yes.
As the airship starts to take off, I'm going to use a 4th level spell slot to do Find Greater Seed to 10 minutes. I'm going to summon my Rev back. And then I'm going to sort of look at everyone that's on sort of the top. Well, this has been quite a ride, hasn't it? I started off as, just a bit of an outsider, I guess. Like, came from the Harpers and just a bit of an outside hire. Helped you guys along. In that span, I've become one of you, part of the guild. I do have some other things that I need to sort of make sure. I need to make sure everything is fine in Palin, for the time being, anyway. So this is a goodbye for now, but you shall all see me again very soon, I'm sure.
You're always
Goodbye.
people, Jim.
What was that? Sorry, Mira?
I said you were always welcome in the guild hall.
Oh, of course. That wouldn't be fun without me, to be honest.
It's been a pleasure getting to know you, Jen. What should I say?
Brother, it has, hasn't it?
Put him there!
I give him a handshake.
Yeah, one of those like real...
Forearm clasp. Yeah.
Yeah.
Leosin steps up towards you, Jin. Shakes your hand.
I spoke to Azure, and we had something made if you ever decided to join the guild.
And he pulls out a patch that he hands to you with the insignia of the Tempest Guild on it.
Perfect.
If you ever feel like you want to stitch this onto your clothes or cloak or something, you're welcome to. And you're always welcome to the guild.
This will look nice next to the other ones. Thank you. That's very nice.
It's been a pleasure, Jin.
Oh, of course. Now I have to get going. I have to make sure Sorceress is fine. And
As is leaving, Yervith in Sylvan is gonna say, "Tell Faye I said hi." Hope they
Tell who?
The Faye.
Oh, right. Because I know Sylvan now, don't I, Owen?
Yes, you do. Yes.
Yeah. I say it back. Oh, you are full surprises, Yervith. I shall. I think I might go and, after I settle things in Palin, I think I might go and visit the Fae. Go see the Feywilds a little bit. Hang out with Titania, Got a bit of an in there, so...
I think Lyra is just terrified at that sentence.
Yes.
just watch yourself, Jim.
Oh, of course.
Oh,
Now then,
Make
I
sure you
guess I'll
come
go.
back.
Oh, I'll always come back. I'll don't worry. You will hear my lovely music through the halls in no time at all. But I must also see how Gloria's doing. I don't want her outdoing me in the Harpers. You know, we might have stopped Tiamat, but I'm sure she's got her grubby hands on something to get over me, so... Okay. I love you all. It's been a fine adventure. I shall see you all soon.
See you on the next one.
And then with that, I sort of catapult off the edge with my Firev, and then sort of glide back up. I'll use a major image 3rd level, my last 3rd level spot, and then I'll just do an amazing fireworks display, all these different moving shapes, and maybe I don't know. Dragons probably aren't the greatest idea at the moment, so we might not stick with them.
Just flashes of light and patterns and flowers and all sorts
just a
of
bunch of awesome,
and
and then it's almost the sound of merriment and almost like a fair is playing.
Yeah.
And then it just says, farewell. He's a bit of a jokester, but for the last bit, I think he won't play a prank on people. I think he wants to end quite on a merry, sort of joyous, moment. As I fly to Palin to connect back up with Susurrus, see how the Harpers are doing, see how Gloria is doing.
As you swoop down to the...
And help the Bards College as well, rebuild and stuff.
As you swoop down to the city below, Susurrus finds you quite quickly, accompanied by Gloria. Gloria gives you... offers a hand to shake. And... compliments you on your defeat of a sliver of a god.
Does she say that?
Yeah. Look,
I take her hand.
A sliver of a god. Well done, I guess. She holds out a hand.
I shake her hand. I'm not very strong, but I put as much strength as I can to him, in sort of gritting my teeth. I go, "Thanks, Gloria. That was so nice of you to say."
I'm sure you did your best.
You should have seen me. I cast 3 disintegration spells.
Oh, yeah?
Absolutely tore the shit out of it.
Oh, well...
Probably more than you did. Because I was taking out the sliver
as you said that, she pulls her hand back.
You were just...
And then casts Shocking Grasp on you.
I am resistant to lightning, so I'm going to...
As the lightning... over. No, it's only a very gentle one. It's not to actually do damage. She does this very, static electricity. Susurrus steps in. All right, great.
I can't
got a lot of work to do. She counterspells. All right, okay. Put
Sorry,
your dicks away, okay? Yep.
Oh well, no, that doesn't really apply to me. And you know that.
As you say that, Susurrus just grabs you by the face and drags both of you through the city streets towards the edge of the crater. There's a lot of work to do. Get fucking started, all right? And then leaves you guys to it.
I just speak to God. Let me have one day's rest.
She ignores you and stalks off in the other direction, her tiefling tail flicking like a cat's as she moves through the streets. Jin, you spend as long as you want to helping out in the city. There is so much to do. The group of wizards from the Unseen University are doing a huge amount of good, but they're not able to do anything for the people, only for objects. And so you and Gloria and a number of other Harpers who you recognize begin moving through just behind the wizards, pulling people out of the rubble as the rubble reassembles back into buildings and applying medical aid wherever you can, magical aid and medical aid. It's pretty grim work. A number of people didn't make it. But there's more survivors than not. Yeah.
Sorry, just to let you know, I'll be probably using animate objects as well.
Yes.
Sort of,
to help you
but
search.
a different sort of tool, I'll use maybe the massive one, the huge one, and that's actually able to pick up stuff and help with that. And
maybe you animate some of the rubble into this big stone golem that begins
pretty much.
The rubble up. Yeah, nice. Gloria does the exact same thing. As you do that and it works really well, Gloria goes, "Oh, that's not a bad idea," and then does the exact same thing. As the two of you working together, a number of bards rushing around.
I upcast it to 6th level.
Okay, amazing.
So it's a little bit better.
It's a little bit better. As you go through, there are more survivors than there are people who lost their lives, and people who should not have survived but somehow did, whose lives are saved by the quick work of the wizards and the Bards College working together. When you finally head to bed in the dorm rooms of the Palin Bards College, dawn is just about breaking, but you have no trouble falling asleep. Exhausted and as tapped out as you are, sleep comes for you very quickly. And in your dreams, you find yourself moving through the Feywilds. A dance seems to be happening in some woodland court. On one side you see Fey wrapped in green vines, their faces half obscured by the light shining from above, and on the other, a group of Fey wearing thorns and brambles, their faces hidden in shadow. And you realize this dance is a battle between the Fey, the Archfey, the Seelie and the Unseelie courts. This isn't a real battle. A dance is taking the place of the battle. This stylized, emotional version of a combat. And as a number of satyrs dance through the middle, weaving their way through the other players, wearing this long papier-mâché fabric dragon representation, you realize that that probably is Tiamat, or a representation of her. As she moves through the players, the dance changes tempo and frequency. And then when finally the dragon is defeated, slain by a hero, you see the members of the Unseelie court stand and applaud raucously, while the members of the Seelie politely sit in place, clapping gently. And then a new player steps onto the stage as the others clear. An elf, a ladron most likely, dressed all in red, with swirls of black painted across his body, forming these twisting patterns. And as he steps on and begins spinning rapidly, you sense a foreboding, a knowledge that something else is coming.
Okay, that's cool.
That's very cool.
Alrighty.
That's different.
We're going to jump back to the rest of the group, jump back in time a little bit. As the airship starts making its way to Oxenfurt, a draconic form flies over the ship, and just as it's about to land, forms itself into a silver dragonborn, Elia. She rushes over to you, Mira, and Yervith.
I've just had news. There are a large number of Drake Wardens that have suddenly started to emerge. People manifesting dragons. Yervith, I need you if you are willing.
Of course. I'm happy to help.
Our first stop is to Veloxer, a number of the Dragonborn. It seems to be a higher concentration amongst the Dragonborn population, but there are many others. We are going to be on the road for quite a bit of time. Is Eleanor up for a big flight?
What are you going on?
Eleanor lets out this baying bark and sprays this gout of colourful flames into the sky.
I will take that
That's
as
a
an
yes,
emphatic
Yes.
Mira, my offer still stands. If you ever wanted to come and join the council in Palin, I am sure they would love to have you, but I see that you have built a life for yourself here. A life that you love and cherish. So I leave the choice to you. Whenever I am in Oxenfurt, I will come and see you, of course. And whenever you are in Veloxer, you best do the same. But for the time being, I think our paths diverge.
I think they are for now. I think there is a part to play for me. I don't know what it is yet, but I need to go and reconnect with the things that matter. And I will be back.
Wonderful. All of you, take a well-earned rest. I'm sure there will be more for you to do in the coming days. For now, rest. Yervith, we must fly as if the wind is on our backs. Come.
And with that, Elia rushes to the edge of the ship and throws herself overboard, back into the full dragon form that wheels around the ship, forming almost like this loop as it flies over, and then begins taking off. I pass over to you.
Smith takes a look back and well, I guess this is my then. Gotta make a move. Miss you all for allowing me to be a part of this crazy family when I didn't have one.
Aww.
Leosin pats you on the back.
Sounds like you might have a much larger family than you ever thought.
Well, that's right. Here I am. A few months ago, wishing that I had something or someone, and well, now I have all of you and everyone else.
Sounds like you might have a whole people. Drake Warden's returning.
Like I say, I've been a long time.
Mira will come up to Yervith and give him a big hug. And just step away and she'll say, "You are destined for great things, Yervith."
Thank you, Mira. I'll make sure that the Drake Warden know of what we fought for today. I will make they realize the future that you created for us.
And Yervith, if you do get to a point where things seem like no one's listening to you or it's too hard, just remember, we believe in you.
I don't have to worry about it. I've been by the best politician in all of Nostea.
So look at Ilya.
Elia's like flying around the ship at this point, keeping
Yeah.
like a geostationary orbit while she waits for Yervith to say his goodbyes, not wanting to rush him.
You'll come back at some point, yeah? You're not gone forever.
No, of course not. I won't be gone forever. Just might be some time, depending on how many of these Drake Wardens I've went. There's still I have to attend to as well. I need to chat to Dalen and make sure that his adventures in the north are going well. Well, he'll be interested to know that the back we may need and have his talents to assist us in the days ahead. But no, I'll be around.
Oh, better.
There's no small distance on the back of the dragon. That's safe.
I feel like the world elf has opened up. I feel like no place is that far away now. Until we meet again.
Until then.
And with that,
Farewell,
you climb
good
on
luck.
Eleanor's back. Eleanor raises her wings, catches the wind off the deck of the ship. And as you begin flying with Elia towards Veloxur, leaving behind the Tempest Adventuring Guild, there's a sense of sorrow that comes from Eleanor, but also a sense of excitement, of anticipation of what's to come. It only takes you 2 days to fly to Veloxur, Elia using her magic to help keep both you and Eleanor refreshed and awake, prevent exhaustion setting in. And as you arrive in the city, you are given accommodations within the inner ring, something that has not been extended to non-Dragonborn for a very long time. The council seems to be ruling wisely at this point. The coalition of Dragonborn who have representation in the council underneath oh god, what was Haz's character's name again? Not Iskander.
I like to think during the travel there.
Akani.
Yeah, during the travel.
During the travel there, because Yervith doesn't really sleep being a wood elf. I imagine I'm just like meditating and just trying to be in tune with Eleanor as well, like almost like sleep flying. If that makes sense. It's kind of
you find yourself seeing through her eyes as you fly over to the point where you can't really tell the difference between your body and her body.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, awesome.
As you arrive in Veloxur, in the capital of Chiari, it looks like Akani and the delegation of Dragonborn have enacted quite a number of changes throughout the city. And as you land and gesture to your rooms and accommodation, have a good night's sleep, finally rest and relax, and then emerge the next morning bright and ready, 9 Drake Wardens have been brought before you. Akani being one of them.
Oh, shit.
Nice.
Okay.
Their drakes are small, only about the size of dogs at this stage, having only just awoken to their powers. All Dragonborn in Veloxur. And you can see that the drakes are just varied in personality as the people are. Some are playful, some are mischievous, some are quiet. Akani's is bold and brave and outgoing. Kind of a little bit in contrast to Akani, who's quite sort of pulled back and a bit more thoughtful. And as your first day of training begins, there's a real sense of purpose from Eleanor that suffuses you and fills you. Jumping back to Mira and Shana. The ship is also carrying, I should have specified before, is also carrying Azure, Leosin, and Lyra back to Oxenfurt. Shana, as you spend the first night on the airship, you find yourself pulled into a dream. A large black lake, bottomless to your eyes. Your reflection murky and shadowy below you. Standing on the lake is a familiar figure, Varys. However, as he turns to look at you, you can see that a lot of that draconic essence he'd absorbed is now gone. Torn away, and the sections where the wings had grown, where the horns were, is actually leaking this dark smoke. And as he smiles at you, you see him glitch for a second, almost like the smoke begins to come undone before reforming. Well, Shana, we did it.
We did indeed. Tiamat was stopped from coming through, and the giants are back, as Lockie said that they could come. This is new. I'm assuming it's something to do with Tiamat.
When I infused you with my essence, I opened myself up for a counterattack from Tiamat. I took it like a champ, but she was not happy to discover that I had stolen some of her essence. She took it back. Forcefully.
Sounds painful.
Yes, it will take some time for the wounds to heal. Being not of a physical nature, but more of a spiritual nature, it will take some time for them to recover. But exciting things ahead, Shana. Giants are back, which means we need to learn as much as we can about their technology. I've already started putting my feelers out, whispering to a few choice members of their delegation. I do, however, have some tasks that I think you're perfectly suited for, if you're still willing to continue our arrangement. I know our deal was to bring me through, but then when we changed it to allow the giants, I would argue that you've fulfilled your contract, if you wanted it to be done.
I think I owe it to both myself and almost to you to see this through. I mean, it's you didn't have to help us in the way that you did with Tiamat, and I'm going to, help you get through to where you want to be, if that's here, if that's somewhere else. But no, I'm in it for the long haul. I'm not going anywhere just yet, although the giants did say a very interesting tidbit of information, which is there are plenty of other worlds that perfectly inhabitable, and so I'm thinking once we get you back through, I don't know, maybe it could be worth making a plan B, just in case, it all goes to hell in a handbasket again.
A backup planet does not sound like a bad idea. I might have a bit of a look, see if there's any planes that I can already access that seem hospitable, but open to my moulding and influence. We'll have to make sure that none of those cheeky parasitic gods have taken up residence. It's unclaimed.
Yes, uninhabited, if at all possible. It's don't want to have the same issue that the giants are having right now.
No, I did hear a little bit more about that. Looks like some of your gods have a bit to answer for. I wonder how long it'll take before their prayers dry up.
I don't know, but I'm starting to wonder if stopping Tiamat has just sort of opened up this giant, I don't know what, box of chaos.
Can of dragons? Yes,
But-
well, you know how much I do love a little bit of chaos. And the giants returning certainly is going to create that.
More than a little bit.
But most importantly, gives us access to people who were long thought to be believed dead. And it looks like they've been working very hard while they've been stuck in the astral space. How ingenious to channel the elements, the elemental magic, to help create survivable and, frankly, quite nice, hospitable digs in the astral plane. I think I need to understand how that works.
Absolutely. I mean, we thought the bridge itself was cool. Being able to move an entire castle out would be just awesome. But I was also thinking you could probably use that same technology underwater.
I envisage a craft, something small, sleek, can move through air, water, and the astral space. I think I know just the architect who could help us build it. Certain lion folk on your ship, Arvel, who I've had a little bit of a chat to.
You should have seen Michael's face there. I was watching the cameras and his face. You heard it was funny.
It's a shame.
Was that you whispering "little lion man" in his ear?
No, I had nothing to do with that. But that's not a bad opener to get his attention. Clearly it works. No, Arvel and I are now acquainted thanks to your introductions via Lockie. And seeing as Lockie is so dedicated to working with the giants rather than me, I've had to make other arrangements. But if you think he'd still be interested, I'm happy to reach out. See if we can make something fruitful.
God. A touch base, I mean, never hurts to ask. But do make sure you give them an option to say no.
I always do. I never put people in positions where they feel they have only one choice but to say yes. I just make sure that the yes is a much more appealing offer than the no. Is that so wrong?
Yeah, well, I think sometimes, you have to take the help that you can get. You can't afford to be choosy.
Couldn't agree more. Unfortunately, I think we've used up my powers for the moment. You watch as he slowly begins to dissipate. Can't even maintain a goddamn dream sequence for that long. This is going to be frustrating. Well, enjoy some time off then, Shana. And any whispers you might be able to pick up about the giants and what they're doing, I'd be most appreciative. And maybe stick close to Lyra for the time being as well. I heard some whispers that the Fae have their eye on her as well. And your friend Jin, of course. The Unseelie Court have their eyes on Lyra. Probably best if you stay close to her for the time being.
Yes, no, try not to keep her out of sight. Or not out of sight, you know what I mean.
Keep her in sight, yes.
Yes.
Well, good luck, and I'll hopefully have some tasks for you soon. Until then, ta-ta. Watches Varys.
Sweet dreams.
Fades away, and your dream turns into a normal dream. Peaceful sleep as you finish your long rest. As you arrive back at the Night Hall, Griswold is already there waiting for you, having teleported back. You can see that the Night Hall has changed a bit since you were last there. It's been expanded, another whole story added as the roof has been raised and positioned. The small wooden dock that led down to the water has been transformed into a full space for the airship to park in the river. So it transitions into a ship and parks outside the Night Hall. No longer do you go to the airship docks, you have your own special dock. And you can see that the blacksmith's shop run by Howls Under the Earth is a bustling, successful blacksmith's. People lined up around the corner waiting for her wares. Mira, as you arrive back into your room, take a moment to kind of stretch and pause, take a big breath in. A knock comes at the door.
Right. Open the door.
Azure stands there, a big beaming smile on his face.
Well, I think it's just us now from the original crew.
Looks like it.
Do you know what this...
Did you end up getting those new recruits? Are they any good?
Well, actually, now that you mention it, I have had a request come in to investigate some strange disappearances around this town called Dowbridge. I've organised a group and sent them out just before all of this kicked off, really.
Excellent. Well,
actually, no, sorry, he wouldn't say that. He'd say, I've just sent them off this morning, actually. Took a while for you to get back via airship. Yeah, sorry, I've just realised that the Giants had to be back for the portal to open. Yes. Well, but I was hoping... I've seen some resumes that have come in. Obviously, the news that you've defeated Tiamat has reached its way back to the Guildhall, and I made a point of going and visiting Sylvia Whistlewood and letting her know what we'd done. I believe she'll be popping by this morning with a number of hopeful candidates. We've been approved for a third team, as it were.
It's just getting bigger and bigger. The hall's looking amazing, by the way. Are the resumes complete? Are they,
I've already sifted through. The ones that were written in crayon are in the outbox.
Very good. Yes.
I've kept it. It has to be a minimum of 3 pages. I thought you'd approve.
I do. We're
Well-
becoming quite professionals, aren't we?
I think we are, and I was going to say, I think this guild has needed a chief administrator. And while I think I have filled the position, I don't think I fit it perfectly. I think I can be a bit of an ideas man, but I think when things happen, I sort of don't know the finer details, like how to make these things happen. I kind of like have these great ideas, like, oh, let's have an airship dock. And then I kind of have to get other people to help me, like, make it happen. Because I had this plan of, like, just strapping it to the roof, but I was told that was silly and would overbalance the entire matter.
How much did this cost? Maybe we could ask Lockie about that, actually.
Yes,
Be an
yes.
option.
Well, it's not. It doesn't matter now. I've got it on the water line. Leosin helped me with that, but Leosin's. Well, I mean, we've got 3 teams to manage. He's kind of taken on more of a communications role, point man, as it were, to help like coordinate and talk to each of the different teams. What I'm hoping is that you'll take over as the chief administrator, and I can sort of take on a role as kind of like your yes man. And I'll like come to you with ideas, and you can then like make them happen.
I do have one idea, actually, I've been thinking about.
Oh, yes. I love ideas.
Well, I've been told that I don't have much of imagination, but I've been thinking, we have such an amazing amount of magic amongst, and I think that's going to be the answer to what's going to happen now with the giants. We need everyone. We need more magic. I want to study things a little bit.
I think we can organize that. It sounds like you'd like a library of some sorts with a lot of tomes collected from the.
As long as it follows the Dewey Decimal System. Yes.
The Dewey Dracomal system. Yeah, I mean, you'll be in charge of it. You can be the head librarian as well if you like.
I think the more we can learn, the more we'll have answers.
I think so too. Well, let's have a look through these resumes, and then I was thinking we could organize some sort of interview in maybe a couple of weeks, and then we could interview these new staff members, potential recruits, together.
Did you look at the uniforms?
The uniforms. Yes, that's something we need to work on. I haven't done that properly yet. I had a few ideas, and I commissioned them to be made, and then I was told that they were too small and too big, and it was a problem. So I've had to put that on hold.
Let's do this.
Azua reaches out, pulls you into a big hug, and then together, as the joint leaders of the guild, you head downstairs to spend a morning looking over the paperwork, getting everything in order, and having a bit of a sticky beak at these potential new recruits. As you look through very briefly, a number of them do stand out as being of particular interest. And as you put these 5 aside, marked for interview immediately, you look forward to the future of the Tempest Guild with hope and optimism. Lockie.
Yes.
On board the Sky Castle. It is chaotic, but somehow familiar, as the giants begin adapting to being back and communication lines are engaged once more. It's revealed that a number of the giant castles, having now arrived back in Nostea and with the news of King Mjorn's death, have declared themselves as candidates for the next head of the 5 council. Council of 5. Without King Mjorn to guide them, and with Queen Chimere still grieving the loss of her husband, the Council of 5, Council of 6, the Althing, the Council of 6, is in chaos. And with no one else to step up and lead the Storm Giants in the Storm's Redoubt, Sin Mare is forced to in her mother's place. With you at her side to help advise her on the new lands that they have arrived in, and to help take her mind off things when she needs it, to experiment and to tinker with her artificing creations. On the 4th day, news comes in. A town far to the north of Oshia seems to have been attacked by one of the giant clans. The town itself scattered, the people running for the hills, as the giants tore apart and unearthed some massive stone and metal construct beneath the ground. You send a message to the Tempest Guilds. Sinmare, unable to take the Storm's Redoubt that far, that quickly. You send a message to Mira and to Azura to send a team to investigate. A small team. A team of 5. And that is where Tyranny of Dragons ends.
Oh, yeah!
Damn.
Wow.
Now, are there any secrets or questions that you've always wanted to know the answers to that I've not been able to give you while we were in the campaign? I can already tell you that there are a couple of alternate futures I'd love to share.
Yeah, what were the alternate endings? Yeah.
Infinite, but if there are a couple that came to my mind immediately. If Jin had, so let's say Lockie hadn't tried to engage the portal. Let's say Jin instead had been in charge. The Fae would have opened up the connection and splintered it open, allowing for free access to the Feywild from Nostea. That opening of the ways would have also opened up a number of the other realms as well. The elemental realms would have been accessible once more, as well as the Shadowfell and a couple of other regions sort of in the near proximity to the Feywild.
Damn.
So are the realms still not accessible now? The portals are open?
Now the giants are back. Realm travel is once again possible on Nostea.
Oh, okay, cool.
Because it's their technology.
That's cool.
It's their technology that keeps it powered.
Yeah.
Just quickly, then I might pop in.
Yeah.
If that's the case, I think Jin's definitely very interested in the Feywilds. So he's
I had a
definitely going to go
feeling.
and explore. And I think he's going to do almost like some spying as well, because he's probably a little bit perturbed by that ominous.
I felt like I wanted to give Jin a hook to go investigate the Feywild, and you've absolutely.
Yeah, no,
so that's perfect.
He's going to take it.
Brilliant.
And
What if he? Oh, sorry, you go.
I was just going to say, and then he'll probably be doing something similar to like Lockie. How Lockie's giving a lot of intel on giants. Jin's definitely going to be giving a lot of intel on the Unseelie Court. That's the bad one.
The Unseelie and the...
Well, not bad.
Well, not bad. You know what I mean? The more,
So the Seelie and the Unseelie. The Seelie are generally benevolent to the Fae ideas. The Unseelie are generally malevolent to the Fae's ideas of benevolent and malevolent. Unfortunately, those terms don't quite translate to mortals, and so both groups are capable of extreme acts of evil in your eyes, as well as extreme acts of good. Because the morality of the Fae is very twisted in your eyes. It's very different to what you know.
Oh, I still want to go there.
Me too. I've been wanting to go there since I was 7.
That'd be sick.
Matt, you had a question? It's weird referring to you as your actual names again. Matthew.
Yeah. I was going to say, if you could say it if he's still a player, but what if Des had gone through the portal?
If who, sorry?
Varys?
If Varys had come through, I'm happy to share. If Varys had come through this time, he would have stripped Tiamat of that sliver, that splinter that's now in the Amulet of Elements, taken it for himself.
Oh, okay.
Sealed Tiamat back in Avernus. He would have offered Shana a almost like a Deva-like position, like the Varys' version of a Deva, to turn her into that. And then he would have used that power to attempt to reopen and reactivate the giant portals on Nostea. And once he was successful in that, travel to somewhere with Shana if she agreed to go with him.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Somewhere.
I'm not giving too much away.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah. He's still a player, so I wasn't expecting that much. That's good. Another one. What about Daedalus?
I was just going to ask that.
That's what I wanted to ask. Yeah.
So, what Daedalus really wanted to do, what Daedalus was going to use that very last influence on Lockie to do, was going to influence Lockie to, rather than connecting to the giants or to Avernus, connecting to his tomb and releasing him. And then absorbing the remaining energy to become a god.
Oh my god.
But then the timey-wimey stuff, like kind of...
It absolutely... because of that, because of the reversal of time on Lockie, because of that removal, Like literally, like genuinely, his future sight couldn't see that coming because it was a reversal of time. So he can't see the future and then see something reverse itself in time in the future. It's not because it's a complete what's the word I'm looking for? It's not possible to see. So he
it's almost
literally
like he saw one timeline and the timeline changed. He couldn't have foreseen
what was a random effect. Like his timeline, he could clearly see the timeline up until Lockie touched the hourglass, and then what he saw was a splintered timeline where things worked out as he wanted them to. But the problem was that wasn't the actual future. As soon as Lockie touched it, there were two timelines now, because there's one where Lockie continues on and there's one where Lockie goes backwards. Because when you time travel, you don't actually time travel, you are shunted into a parallel universe and pushed backwards along a time stream. So in one parallel version of events, this is exactly what happens. He gets exactly what he wants. But in this time stream, because we follow Lockie, that doesn't happen. And so literally in his tomb, when that happens, he literally just sits up straight and goes, fuck. That's it. As that effect activates.
I'm imagining they do like a multiverse storyline. Be rather interested in it.
There will be like
the funny thing is that plan was fucked, but Lockie still has that recording of his wisdom saying all that stuff.
Oh yeah.
What might pull that curtain on Lockie a little bit. My idea is if I was thinking that if I got the final hit on Tiamat, one idea I had was I was going to throw that into her maw.
Oh, the recording.
Yeah. And blown her up with whatever Diodorus is. But then he's got that, and to him that's a form of magic.
Well, so Diodorus is based a little bit on the Ketech from the Name of the Wind and from the Wise Man's Sphere, but not in the same way where he can see every possible future, and his words influence you forever, and he can see every impact his words have. He can see a number of possible futures, and he knows what words to say to kind of influence you, but he has to use a magical effect to guarantee the outcome that he wants, because the further you are away from his influence and the more time has elapsed between when you last spoke to him, the random entropy of the universe has already changed things slightly from how he potentially envisaged them. So it's not like he's not as powerful as the Ketech. He has like a lessened version of the Ketech's power.
Okay. So listening to that recording wouldn't be the... Oh, okay.
He had to cast the magic on you to influence you, to force you to do what he wanted. So he can say things that he thinks is going to make you choose different options, and he can kind of see the possible futures to know which ones are more likely to push you in a certain direction. But to actually force you to take an action, that was that magical suggestion, that special influence that he had. And that's the way I kind of turned the Ketech into a balanced D&D encounter, where you still made a saving roll, and it wasn't like this permanent thing where everything you do from now on he's already foreseen and already accounted for. It's more like at 3 key moments he can choose to influence your actions at that point and make you make a decision.
That's fair. That's cool.
So it's a more balanced version of the Ketech.
It's also going to be really interesting to see Lockie through that device into the first layer of hell, and we don't know what happened after that.
Yeah.
I don't know what the impact will be or anything like that, but it's going to be really interesting to see.
Well, that was my idea. My holy Mary for Mira was, if things were going all to shit, I would try and get that. That's why I was trying to get that connection with Tiamat as strong as possible, and then I was gonna dimension door into hell. And
wow, that'd be cool.
There was a potential setup for Descent into Avernus where instead of Azrael, it's Mira.
Yeah.
Where it's a fallen Mira, where Mira has fallen to Tiamat's power and influence and become a dark avatar of Tiamat. I shouldn't say dark avatar. She's just embraced her position as the avatar of Tiamat and is now this like full dark demonic form, basically.
Crazy.
Cool.
That was one of the options. That was one of the options that could have happened.
Also, something else. I don't know if I missed it, but so Yervith is obviously going off to do Dragonborn things. Lockie is sort of the emissary for the giants. Mira is leading the guild. I'm Jin's off going in the Feywilds, researching and sort of figuring out what that ominous thing is, sending them back to the guild. Did we actually go over what? Because I know Shana had her dream sequence. What was Shana's next steps?
So Shana's basically staying with the guild for the moment, keeping an eye on Lyra until she gets further instructions from Varys. But I didn't want to share what those further instructions were tonight because they're going to be relevant after the first couple of sessions of Return of the Giants.
Cool. That's cool.
So I didn't want to go into too much detail. So Shana can be doing whatever Shana wants to do during that period of time. So Shana's probably got about 2 or 3 weeks before Varys contacts her again and gives her instructions. I think it's probably about 2 weeks in the timeline. Yeah.
She is absolutely trying to figure out everything that she can about these rumored other worlds that supposedly exist. Like,
Let's
she's
say
like,
then
he's been
Shana-
here the whole time.
Does Shana want to get access to the Unseen University library and start doing some research there, trying to figure out what she can about planar travel?
Yeah. And she'd absolutely drag Lyra with her because she's like, I'm not leaving you alone. So don't leave me with this.
Yeah.
Lyra gets bored quickly and makes small fungi grow on the bookshelves.
That's fair. Do you have any? Do you guys have any like secondary ideas for your characters? Because I've got several things that Lockie wants to do.
It's
For
not
you.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh no, I'm saying like for your character, for these characters.
One of the things I was thinking is, do we discuss these now, or do you want to message them to me and we can discover those
And they
things
can pop up organically in the game.
while the next campaign's running, and that way it's
I like
a surprise
that.
for you
Yeah.
guys too.
I like that idea. That's a great idea.
Okay, here's what I want you to do. I want you to pick 3 things 3 goals that your character has in mind that they want to achieve over the next little bit, and or 3 things that they want to do, or 3 things that they might be interested in. Send me 3 things total, and I will weave them into the narrative of the next campaign.
I think one thing would probably be one. Actually, I'm actually tossing this because his whole being alone and having a family thing is a very nice closure. But I feel like he hated that. But I still feel like Zoe he would like to regain some memories because he still doesn't 100% know what happened to his family. Which I think something
I have an idea about what we could do with that.
That's cool.
There was I can reveal now, if you guys had gone to, there's something else that just occurred to me. If you'd gone to the tomb with Shivers to investigate the previous avatar of Tiamat, down below in the Hall of the Honored Dead, you would have found the bones encased in metal, chromatic metal, of the previous avatar of Tiamat, and that would have been a boss fight that you guys would have done as
Oh shit.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Okay.
Yeah.
That's cool.
I also have whatever happened to Arathor, the White Dragon?
To which one, sorry?
Arathor, the White Dragon, the one that we found in the north.
Rathator was there. Yeah, sorry, I didn't get a chance to do because so many of the extra characters came to your aid.
Oh no, absolutely.
When you guys got back to Palin and Rathator met up with Elia kind of spent a bit of time working on Rathator, and she wasn't able to fully convince him to side against Tiamat, but she was able to convince him to stay neutral. So he's actually back in Veloxur at this point, having renounced his connection to Tiamat. Not so much helping, more trying to get cozy with Fafnir.
Well, that's what I literally took my notes to see what his name was. How is Fafnir going?
Upset by
all the books.
Well, Fafnir's horde was considerably lessened by the cult and partly destroyed as they disintegrated and replaced most of his stuff with illusions. The things they didn't want, they disintegrated to prevent him having access to.
Assholes.
I thought meant an inside, but that's us. Oh,
most of the stuff they took was burned up by the spell to bring Tiamat back. So I can reveal now there were some sacrifices who were lost. The spell to summon Tiamat, because there was a bit of time getting you guys to Palin. There were a number of people who lost their lives, their life force powering the spell, and most of the horde gone, burned up to create.
Was there any notables who died?
No real notables that you guys would know.
Right. Okay.
No.
The only main NPC that I think officially was Duke. The Duke. Duke.
Yeah, Duke Neverember.
Duke Neverember. Yeah, he was killed during the explosion. Langdedrosa is still kicking about. I know some people probably ask about Langdedrosa. Langdedrosa is still kicking about. The rumors of his death were greatly exaggerated. Langdedrosa is still kicking about. He is currently probably Langdedrosa would be actually heading his way over to Balmir, on the trail of a group of cultists over there, trying to track them down, who were still committed to the original ideals of the Order of the Dragon, which was to raise Dracoliches.
Oh yeah.
How's old Varum doing?
Varum the White. Varum the White. Varum the White's dead.
Yeah,
was he dead?
Wait, is it Varum the White?
Varum the crazy dwarf.
Yeah.
Varum's okay. I was thinking of Talus the White. Talus the White was in that chamber and was consumed by the portal. The other dragon mask bearers, you might remember Talus way back,
I do remember.
who stole the white dragon mask to become Talus the White. She was in that chamber. She was on the far side of the portal. She was one of the first ones to die, unfortunately.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you guys never got to see her. Varum's still a bit insane. That glimpse into the pool to see the alternate futures is not so easily healed. He's in the care of the ambassadors, the draconic ambassadors at Palin. Probably there'd be attempts to ship him back to Balmir to try and find friends and family who could look after him more permanently. But the best they could do was heal some of his broken mind, but he's still very much damaged by his glimpsing of every possible future staring into the pool as his sanity was stripped away.
Big sad.
Well, he wasn't even like, he didn't even stare into the pool. He was like washed into it by this sudden flush of water. Like he drank some of it. He was immersed in it. Like,
Baptized in it.
Yeah. He's cray still, unfortunately.
Okay. Good to know. Yeah, I don't know how much else.
Wizards. Because they
The
never
Red
ended up
Wizards.
picking a side, did
Oh,
they?
the Wizards, what happened? Yeah, because they're usually part of Tiamat, the Rise of Dragons. Very
So
much.
the Red Wizards, once they lost Rathmondar, when you guys killed Rathmondar, the Red Wizards had a meeting to discuss whether or not they wanted to continue their association with the Order of the Dragon, or whether their interests were best aligned elsewhere. Because the Red Wizards of Thay were not that interested in bringing Tiamat back. They were more interested in accessing, because the Red Wizards are necromancers as well. They were more interested in understanding the cult's original plan to bring back Dracoliches. They were more interested in the necromancy side, seeing if the cult had any necromantic magic they didn't have, and trying to take all the forbidden knowledge that Tiamat might have granted them if it helped further their goal. When they realized that Tiamat was probably playing the cult of the dragon, and that the cult were probably close to bringing her through, they ended up cutting ties with her. A certain organization known as the Black Hand also assassinated one of the archwizards of the Red Thay, one of the ones who was very much a big approver of the partnership, leaving another one of the other archmages who was against their partnership to take control of the council and basically pull the Red Wizards out of their association with the Cult of the Dragon, with the Order of the Dragon. You can thank Varys for that one. That was one of the assassinations he directed.
Damn.
Well, because Lyra and Shana made such a big deal about how much they hated the Red Wizards, so Varys was like, "Okay, I'll deal with that. I'll deal with that for you."
Wow.
And so essentially, went and organized for the Black Hand to assassinate.
He's a bro.
What a rogue.
This is a really random. This is really. Oh, sorry, Michael, you go.
That's right. Well, what about the floating city?
When we crashed.
No, not the hovering city. The
sea, the floating city on the ocean.
Oh.
Drifthaven.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, didn't they have a giant portal? Oh no.
I can't tell you about Drifthaven because that is very pertinent to the next campaign.
But I remember what that's about. Okay.
Yeah.
Elaborate.
That is extremely pertinent to the Return of the Giants. I cannot discuss it with you.
Yep.
Nice.
That's
cool.
fair.
Major story spoilers for the second act of Return of the Giants.
Okay. Cool.
Yep. Matt, as the player, has just real implications there. So that's interesting.
Are there any other questions that we need to answer? Any audience questions? If there are audience questions, chuck them in the YouTube comments. I'll answer them when I see them. Otherwise, if it's on stream, just chuck them in chat and I'll answer them.
I actually do. I have another question.
Yeah.
We had an option at one point to go to the Nera Forest.
Mm.
What
To
would that
where, sorry?
have been? I've got it here as the Neravane.
The Neravane Forest, yeah. So that would have
Yeah.
been over towards the northeast of where you guys are. You'd be heading up north of Balmia to a section of woodland across the Isles up there. There's this sort of northern section, very much like the tundra and the Arctic forests up in the north of the Swedish Lapland. Yeah, if you'd gone hunting dragon masks, there was a cultist up there. One of the cultists bearing, I think, the black mask was up there for a little bit.
Okay, cool.
So that was one of the options that you could go explore to try and track down the masks. But instead, I think you guys went after the white. No, you went after the blue mask, which was a good one.
That's right.
Yeah, I wanted to give you guys options for where you wanted to go. So at one point, you could have gone after 4 of the 5 masks, not knowing where Severin was, as he had the red mask. There were little hooks for you to go after any one of the masks. I wanted to make it so that it was kind of like a choose your own destination.
Could we have gone after all of them, or was
Yes.
the time frame for that too long?
If you had gone after all of them, and you'd been lucky and really, you would have had to have been lucky with knowledge and the timing. You would have had to get the timing really right. But there was a timeline, a way where you could have gotten maybe not all 4, but at least 3 of the other masks. So if you hadn't gone after Varum, if you hadn't gone to Diodorus's tomb, hadn't gone to the forest, because the mask was never there, he went there to try and locate it. If you'd instead gone back to Talus and back to her hunting lodge, she actually had it by that point. So, but it was very hard for you to know that. If you had then gone straight up to the Arctic, to the tundra up to Noronvane, you probably could have intercepted the Black Dragon mask there. And then heading back down towards Chiari, that would have set you probably 2 weeks ahead of where you were. You might have just been able to intercept the Green Dragon mask while it was there.
Mm.
Because you went to the jungle, you found Yervith, and
Exactly, and the
history.
Drake Wardens are now resurrected, and that's how Shana came to be as well. Otherwise, it's still been Lyra.
That's right.
Yeah.
So,
Thanks, Diodorus, for Shana.
Yeah.
That's a whole other what if. That would have been a very interesting way the game,
Wait,
the whole
I
campaign
wouldn't
could have gone on.
Yeah, it would have been a completely different character.
It would have been.
Yeah,
It would have been Lyra.
That would have been someone completely different.
It's fitting that the character art right now is Varys just going like, yeah, as he stares out across the group.
I think you're right. I think we've all been in the chat going favorite NPC.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Varys was the favorite NPC. I do love Varys. I think Varys is a lot of fun to play. Definitely for me, he's a lot of fun because I can be almost a little bit like metagamey with him as a DM and like be kind of a bit I don't know. Varys just strikes me as someone who kind of breaks the fourth wall a little bit. Not deliberately, but like a little bit anyway. Because he's kind of this cosmic player who has this view of all the different worlds and things that are happening that you guys can't even begin to see. And there's this sense that he's kind of playing this very long game with all of the people that he interacts with.
That's the feeling I get as well. Like I think we were saying in the chat before it's like you can never hunt and trust him.
No.
Yeah.
I don't.
You can 100% trust Varys to have his own agenda in mind and plans within plans to make that happen.
Yeah.
Like this whole presentation, I'm happy to reveal this. This whole presentation to Shana of him a bit hurt at the end. I mean, yeah, Tiamat did a bit of damage to him, but he now has Shana committing to him forever.
Yeah.
Like Shana just basically was like, he even like gave her a little out, pretending as if like he'd ever let her go. Like, oh yeah, if you want to end the contract now, you totally can. And she's like, no, I think we should stick working together. And he's just like,
whoa.
Yes.
There was a line that I said during the Tiamat fight. He said like the consequences of that hour was catastrophic, and we still don't know what that actually means.
Yeah,
that's interesting.
That was a carefully worded manipulation to make Shana believe that there was no other way and that this was the only thing that she could do, and to try and make the consequence seem almost as bad to make it more believable that drawing upon his power was the best option she had.
Fuck's sake.
He was bookline and sinker because she'd just come out of that previous dream sequence where it's like, oh yes, everything exploding, that's all your fault.
Yeah, that's true.
Yes.
You did have that.
And Varys took advantage of that too, being able to kind of present himself as a bit more of a sympathetic figure. I realize as I say this, it kind of makes Varys sound like he's this incredibly malevolent entity. He's not. He's not malevolent. He's also not benevolent. I want to make that clear as well. Like his goals are not to help everyone around him.
Yeah, he's a manipulator.
Varys has one goal, and he will do anything to further that. Sacrifice anyone, tell any lie he needs to tell to make that happen. And he's had opportunities to further that goal during this campaign that he has taken advantage of every step of the way. And he will do so in future campaigns as well.
So, like, talking on Varys now and, like, how you've described him, it doesn't sound like him and Jin probably are done either then.
Who knows? I mean, Jin kind of did sever the connection with him, and really Varys kind of got what he needed out of you, which was he got the Drakhorn.
The Drakhorn.
Like you, after that, your usefulness to him was more convenience than anything else. But now he has someone who's just committed to him forever, a very powerful spellcaster, unique among her kind for her level of spellcasting, who's just been like, yeah, I think we should keep this party going. Like, I'll work with you forever, Varys. It's just like, okay, great.
He also came on board with her, like, yep, get Planet B. Like, she's like,
Planet B.
Varys, as I said, Varys will do anything to further his goal. If that means helping Shana in her goals and agreeing with Shana, he'll do it. And that's the thing, right? Like, helping you guys helped him. Stopping Tiamat getting through helped him further his goal. So he was more than willing to help you guys stop Tiamat. As long as what you guys want aligns with his goals, he's going to be the most helpful NPC you can encounter. He's a good person to have in your corner. The second what you want goes against what he wants, that's when things get a bit tricky.
Yeah.
Well,
that's why Lockie just did not have time for him.
Yeah. What about when he offers the chance to make a spacecraft? That's the thing, right?
Yeah. That's it. Lockie has the giants.
Varys learnt long ago that a carrot is a much more effective motivator than a stick.
Yeah, that's true. Look at the giants, and the giants effectively have a spacecraft. They've been living in it for however long.
Yeah, so, big one.
Yeah,
20 years in their time.
Yeah.
I guess we're not gonna. This is not the last we'll see of Severin either.
Severin will be bad.
Severin's not going anymore.
Wow.
But I don't know if you can say this one, but he's not committed to Tiamat anymore, though, is he? Is he still on the Tiamat bandwagon, or is
she tried to kill him?
Yeah.
Try to kill him.
Like an existential crisis, I think. At the moment.
I'll tell you for free. I'm happy to share this. Severin is no longer invested in bringing Tiamat back from Avernus.
Yeah.
He's still evil. He's still evil though.
He has another goal in mind now.
And one of those mages, like, because you just revealed that Talus the White was one of the
one of the mages.
So that means that that mage that saved Severin is not just some slouch. That's like
one of the mask wearers.
It's a decent figure. That's a pretty prominent.
Yeah, one of the bearers of the mask.
Them two together, that could be pretty terrible.
That's actually a very, very interesting. Yeah.
They're now the only surviving leadership of the cult.
What does that mean, though?
There's so many question marks.
No, they're going to search for another scheme.
Well, maybe they'll turn good side and just retire to a happy little cottage in the forest.
I'm happy to tell you for free, Matt, that's not what they're doing.
I probably would if I'd been shot twice with an arrow and my very existence was just like absolutely invalidated.
Severin probably absolutely hates Yervith's guts.
Oh yeah, he's coming for you.
He is absolutely.
Oh, you can try. I'm gonna get some bulk of those dragon arrows in from the element.
He no longer has the connection to the draconic essence with Tiamat gone.
He's gonna hate the Dragon Wardens even more. Because they have what he wanted, the power. Sorry.
For podcast listeners, I'm nodding furiously as Claire says this. Yes, very well deduced, Claire.
Oh shit.
Well, we have gone. Nemesis, yeah, exactly. We have gone a fair bit over time. I think that's a good place to wrap up our epilogue session. This is the final episode of Tyranny of Dragons. Thank you so much for joining us on this journey. It has been an absolute pleasure. It's been a wild ride getting here. When we started this in the middle of COVID lockdown, 2 years ago almost now, just under. I don't think I ever imagined it would be as big as it is now. I never imagined that we would genuinely be looking at achieving YouTube partner within the next 6 to 7 months. I never imagined that we'd have thousands of listeners from all over the world. Thank you so much. I appreciate each and every one of you, and I hope you've enjoyed this journey, coming along with us for this journey. It's been absolutely amazing. And we're getting raided right as we say our goodbyes on the final episode of Tyranny of Dragons. It's impeccable timing. The Crit and a Miss group. We're literally just wrapping up episode 105, which is our final episode of Tyranny of Dragons. The entire campaign. We've just done an epilogue session for the characters and set up, I hope very nicely, set up the next campaign, which is a completely homebrew campaign and original story, Return of the Giants. No, thank you so much, guys, for coming in. That's perfect. It's hilarious timing. So thank you everybody who's been joining us for this journey. It's been an incredible journey. I hope that if you've enjoyed this, you've also checked out our Curse of Strahd campaign, which has just started, and our Avatar Legends campaign, which has been going on for a while now. But yeah, don't worry. All of the lovely cast members who sit here before you today will be rejoining me for our brand new campaign, Return of the Giants, which is very aptly named after the conclusion of this episode. Yeah. So I hope that you'll rejoin us in a couple of weeks for the first episode of Return of the Giants. I'll be posting character art and the sheets as we come up with them. Finished all the character art for all the characters already. We're all ready to go. So the character art I'll be dropping on Twitter and on the art station as well. So you're welcome to see the character art. It'll also be joining me on the side splash screen here in future campaigns as well. And our first session will be an adapted session 0, where we actually create a lot of the characters' backstories and goals together. We're going to do it as a narrative session 0, because it worked so well with Curse of Strahd, and I've taken and adapted a little bit, so it's going to be a full narrative session 0 and in roleplay session 0, which I think I've now got pretty perfected. So thank you so much for joining us, everybody. Stay safe, stay well, and for the last time from the Tyranny of Dragons campaign, have a lovely evening. See you guys again soon. Goodbye, everybody. Bye,
everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.